friends, and welcome to Screen Vomit, the only movie podcast for normal people. I'm, of course, your host, Kayla, and I do have a guest with me today, but before I get to that, I'll do my little plugs. If you like the show, you can find me on Instagram and everywhere else at Screen Vomit, one word on all the stuff. I have gorgeous new merch available. The links for that is in the show notes and in my bios on everything. We also have a Patreon you can subscribe to at patreon.com/screenvomit. All right, and getting to my guest today. My guest is an actor, filmmaker, comedian, host of the podcast American Arts and Culture Review, one of my favorite movie podcasts, and also has a new movie out called Civil Dead, so keep your eyes out for that. It's Clay Tatum.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. Hi, I'm here with Clay Tatum. What's up?
Yeah, how's it going? Thanks for having me. I love being here.
Hell yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
All right. This young man has a new film out, so I guess we have to talk about it.
You don't have to, but
contractually.
it's, yeah. I mean, it is in the contracts that we signed over and that my lawyer looked over.
Yeah, and I can't afford to be sued at this point in time, so
Right.
we've got to talk about Civil Dead. You've just done several fests with it. Florida most recently, right?
Yeah, I just got back from Florida, and so did Whit, who caught COVID there. And surprisingly, I did not
Classic.
catch COVID there.
Yeah, even though you were with Whit the whole time.
Yeah, I was with him every second of every day, and we did a lot of sketchy things. Like, we went to an amusement park and all that. And there's times where I'm like...
Disney
oh my-
World?
No, we did Universal Studios. We had a friend that got us
Because you're
in.
protesting Disney.
Of course. And I'm more politically aligned with Universal.
Yeah.
And we did like rides where I was like, I think we're gonna get COVID here, and then I did not get the stinker.
You did rides with like groups of people where you're just face to face breathing on each other.
Yeah, and it's also just like the lines. So they were like, "What's the smallest room we could put the most people in?" And there's a King Kong ride that was really tested. I was like, I don't know if I'm not getting COVID in here, I'm getting something else.
Yeah.
And
You
I
never know
didn't
what
get
you'll
it.
catch in Florida.
And Whit got it, which reminds me of a time where me and Whit went to Vegas and we were gambling all night and came back and he got COVID and I didn't. And I don't know what's going on with me and him.
Oh, you know what? It's probably because he's not vaccinated.
Well, that too. I mean, I keep on trying to get him vaccinated and he really kicks my ass. And it actually really hurts when he does that.
Famously an anti-vaxxer, and you can't talk any sense into those people.
Right, I mean.
Yeah, what can you do?
Turn off the Fox News for 10 seconds, man. I'm trying to work with you here.
Yeah, it's impossible with that guy.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so this is your first feature, right? I've obviously, but I've watched all your shorts. I loved your shorts. I've watched
thank you.
now your feature. I love your feature. Well,
Thank you.
actually, you know what? There's one short I can't get my hands on
Oh, what's that?
called A Place No One Knows.
Oh, yeah. I mean, okay, yeah, so that was a Funny or Die funded thing. And I don't know
Funny or Die famously died.
Yeah. Oh, big time. And they
won't
were-
give it back.
No, they did something with Samsung Milk, which is like this is how I made money for like 2 or 3 years with dumb stuff like this. So Funny or Die did a thing with Samsung Milk, which was an app inside of a Samsung phone where you can only watch it on a Samsung phone, which no one I knew had. And we made a thing called LA Pizza. We made a thing called Wet Makers, and then we made another thing called Place No One Knows, which was like a spoof on Place Beyond the Pines, but it wasn't really a spoof. I don't know what it was. Anywho,
Yeah.
So they gave us a lot of money to make that. They gave us
Yeah.
more money to make that than what we made the Civil Dead with.
Whoa.
And we made it, and it was fine. It was good, and then it just like died in the app because the app went under instantly. And I probably have it on a hard drive somewhere, but besides that, it was on Amazon Prime,
But it's not anymore.
but it's not anymore. So I don't know. I don't know where the sucker is. I mean, it's in my bedroom somewhere or in my office.
So you hold the keys and you have to release it.
Well, I don't even know if I hold the keys. Maybe it's a hard drive that I gave to someone else that needed it. I honestly do not know where the stinker is. And also, I'm not a huge...
Let it go.
I'm not like
Release the tapes.
I don't think it's bad at all. And yeah, I just don't know where it is. But it was nice making making a living off of those scammy little startups.
Off of a milk app on a Samsung phone.
Yeah, if you want to make $15,000 a year, I would
do
say
one short film for an app.
Yeah. Well, also we did it wrong. I mean, there was other people that were get money to make things, and they're like, "What if I made a short that all took place in one location, and I get to keep the entire budget?" What we did was we spent almost everything they gave us to make our stuff.
You maximalized.
Yeah, and it's so stupid. If I can go back, I would not have done that.
So you've learned a lesson there.
Yeah, just really. It was a damn shame, but, it was fun. But, yeah, I don't know if that's ever going to see the light of day again, unless I dust off a hard drive and I find a...
And what I'm thinking is you got to dust off the hard drive.
I know.
So you've learned your lesson with being given tons of money for a short and blowing it all. What lesson did you learn doing your feature?
I don't know. It's like the feature just came and went so fast. It was like... I had an idea. Some guy randomly called me, offered me like $30,000 to make a movie.
Okay, goals.
Because he just saw a short I made, and he's like an old pal, and he wanted to get.
Wait, which short did he see that convinced him to give you $30K?
He saw the short Home, which I guarantee he didn't finish. He just saw that it just looked like
this is the one with Wit's bare cheeks in it.
Yeah,
true.
That one. So he saw that one, and he was like, "Hey, how much?" He
saw that ass, and he said, "I gotta give that guy money."
he goes, "How much did that cost you?"
I need more of this.
And I was like, "That short cost me like $1,000 to make." And he goes, "How?" And I go, "Well, it's just cheap. You have you pay your crew, and you only shoot for 2 days, and it's just like you find a camera somewhere, and it's fine." And he was like, "Well, if I give you $30,000, can you make a feature?" Which it's not that much money, but I was like, yeah, I guarantee I can make a feature.
You're resourceful enough, yeah.
Yeah, and so it was instantly greenlit after he's heard me say yeah. And so, 2 months later, I got with Whit. We wrote a script of this idea I had, and then 2 months after that, we shot it, and then later, we just edited it for an entire year. And it's just it just went so fast. So I don't know if I learned anything. It's a blur to me.
Yeah.
But the only thing that I really did learn is that we try to cram the most stuff that we can film in a day as we possibly can. And it turns out that hurts your movie.
You think so?
Yeah, and but it's also we at that point too, we didn't have a choice. It's just we only have this much money, and we can only do it if we get this amount of pages in a day. So I mean, the next movie I make, I would love to shoot half as fast. But yeah, that's the only thing that I've really learned.
The lesson you learned is the next movie you want to start with more money.
Yeah, that's a goal that I have. I'm like, why didn't I think of this earlier? And so
main takeaway.
Yeah, I would like more money and more time, and that would be really good. Yeah, and also I learned that the movie is really made with the pickups. Because that really helps. Because if you make a movie, just the principal shooting, it's just a mess. And you can fix all those messes by just having pickup shoots. And we had 4 or 5 pickup days of just making this movie better. And have it make sense.
Hell yeah. Well, it turned out sick, and it's
Thank
making
you so
waves.
Much.
You got a audience award or something at Slamdance, right?
Yeah, and I think that's just because we have a podcast that has a lot of fans, so we really gamed the system there, didn't we?
You won because a lot of people like your work?
Well, I guess so. I don't know. We were it's just here's the thing. Whit is a comedian that has an HBO special, and he told everyone to go see it. So
yeah,
I'm not going to completely say that the audience award is completely earned, but I love having it. It's really nice to have.
No, I think it was great. I think the 2 best movies won. We got Hannah Ha with the regular award.
Yeah, that's great.
And then Y'all's with the audience award. They were both the 2 best.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I really liked Hannah Ha.
Yeah, I had those guys recently too on the pod.
That's what's up. Yeah, I like that.
That's what's up. Yeah.
What movie did they do?
Hard to Be a God.
Oh,
have you heard of this?
Yeah, the black and white.
Yeah.
And what an interesting movie to pick. And I picked one of the most popular movies of the last 10 years. I did think about that though. I did think about that though, because it's like you gave me a list, and I was like, I'll just pick from the list. And I'm like, I don't even know what movie I would have picked anyways. And then I just picked Inherent Vice because it's like a movie that it's the only movie that I kind of return to a lot. But then I thought there's another movie called Magical Girl that I wish I would have picked, but maybe that's for next time, because it's a movie that not that many people have heard of. And it's really good, and it pisses me off that not that many people talk about it. And
I haven't seen it. I think I heard about it from Alex, maybe. Actually.
Yeah, me and Alex came over one day, and he was like, "Hey, just randomly pick a movie for us to watch," and I picked that one. And I don't know why I picked it, but it turned out to be really good, and he really liked it.
Yeah, so next time we do that.
Yeah, that's for next time. What's the rule? Wait, is there a rule? Is there like a 10-year rule for this podcast?
Yeah, 10 years.
That's smart.
That's my rule.
I think it came out in 2014. Oh, so we got time.
So I'll make sure to have you back on before it has reached its 10-year mark.
Good. Okay, great. I'll have my lawyers draft that up just to make sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that I know what I'm legally supposed to address in the next episode as well.
That's right.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course.
It really helps me stay on track, you know? So what is your experience with watching movies? You watch a lot of movies? Or, I mean, I know you have a movie podcast, but you don't always watch those either.
No, I don't. I honestly, I do not watch many movies at all.
Yeah, really?
And yeah, I honestly see about like 2 movies a month.
Yeah.
And
that's like a normal person amount of movies, I feel like.
Yeah, but I make these damn things. Like I should be watching more. It's like it's a quality that I'm like.
Are you shy about your small size of movies that you watch per month?
Yeah, I really am, but I'm trying to be open about it. And
I appreciate your vulnerability.
Yeah, it's a quality that I have that I don't really enjoy, that I have that quality. And so my wife's out of town for the next 2 days, and so I think I'm going to cram in as many of these damn things that I can.
Oh yeah? Gonna have a little cram sesh? Hell yeah.
Yeah. And so,
what gets you to watch a movie? Do you have a type?
No, I mean,
maybe there's not an answer to that, but
I don't know. It's like if I hear someone talk about a movie on a podcast and there's something about it that I don't know. I really like recommendations. Like if people know that my taste and if they recommend a movie, that makes me go out and see it. What else? I don't know. I mean, I guess really nothing because I'm not seeing these damn things.
Well, that's why it's curious, like, that you only choose to watch 2 movies per month.
Oh, you know what really gets me, too, is screenshots that people post on Twitter or
you see
Instagram.
A cool pic. You go,
I see
I gotta
a cool
watch
pic,
the full
and I go,
thing. Yeah.
I gotta watch this sucker, and that's
I gotta see more of this pic.
Yeah, that's how I see like American Friend or like any classic, beautifully shot movies.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was going over my letterbox today to see what I've been watching, and it's just a bunch of trash. It's just, and what I mean by that is it's like I've only seen like the movies that like everyone's talking about now, and so it's like I don't know.
Just so you can keep up with the zeitgeist.
I'm trying to. So I saw that Everything Everywhere movie, and then I saw something. I saw X. So I'm keeping up, but those are part of the 2 movies.
Just barely keeping your head above water.
Yeah. And so.
Okay, well, so you picked the movie for today, which was, as you mentioned, the 2014 film Inherent Vice, Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Yeah, what drew you to this film? You said you returned to it.
Yeah, this is a classic movie that I watch where the first time I watch it, I had the same experience with Inside Llewyn Davis, is I watch it the first time through, like, probably in the movie theater. And then I don't really like it that much. Or I like it. Like it's like just middle of the road, fine.
Yeah.
It's like what you expect from a great director.
No strong feelings either way. Yeah.
No strong feelings either way, but I did enjoy myself. And then later I like keep on thinking about it. And then I watch it a second time when it comes out on streaming, and I really enjoy it. And then I watch it a third time, and I enjoy it even more. and then it becomes like one of my favorites. But
So you didn't like the movie the first time, and then you keep putting it on,
because
hoping
there's like,
you'll feel something.
yeah, so like there's parts of a movie. I'm a guy that I like a good classic camera move or a good like whatever. And there's a camera move in the movie where it's like it's a dolly shot where it's like in the third act where Doc is walking with his lawyer, I think, and it's like they're watching the ship come back in that they talk about, and it's like a classic tracking or dolly shot. I don't know. I can't. On set, I kept on calling a pickup a insert and an insert a pickup. So I don't know. I can't. I don't.
Yeah.
I need to learn.
It's all right. The audience doesn't know either.
Yeah, that's good. So it's like that shot gets like
You say a
seared
dolly
in,
shot, they're like, there's something fancy about this shot.
Yeah.
They don't know, you know?
There's so that shot was like seared in my brain, and I'm like, I gotta see that shot again. I love that shot. So I watched the movie
Yeah.
again.
The
And
whole movie just to make it to the one shot.
Yeah,
It's a fairly lengthy film.
because you have to build to it, and it's not a bad movie. If it's a bad movie and it has a good shot in it, I'm like, I'll just fast forward.
Yeah.
But so like I do stuff like that. I like movies that I don't like at first, and when I rewatch it, it just it's better. And I think all best movies are like that. Because also, if there's a movie that I really do like, the first viewing, it like disappears in my head later. It like there's something I have like
You think you never get that feeling back? Like when you see, it's like if you see something funny, the second time you see it, it's not funny no more, but maybe the same thing just with a great film.
yeah, it's like
First time you see it, you get a butterfly in your stomach, and the more you watch it, you're not getting the butterflies anymore.
Yeah, there's some movies that are just like that I really enjoy watching, and then like they just don't stick with me. And then other movies that I don't really like watching it, and then I learn to love it, and then it sticks with me. I never like see a movie right away and love it right away, and then it sticks with me. It happens, but it's more rare than it should be.
What's an example of one that was the case for? Can you think of one?
Where I watched it all the way through, and then I loved it no matter like first
You
go.
loved it the first go, and then it also did stick with you, and you still love it.
There's a movie called Another Year by Mike Lee that
never
I
heard of it.
watched, and it's like one of his more recent ones. And I watched it, and then the ending happened, and I loved the ending, and I was like, "Oh, this is great!" And so I just rewatched it right then and there. And I've never done that with a movie before.
Hell yeah.
I think I've done that with Yee Yee. Remember the movie Yee Yee?
I never watched it, but I know about it.
That's another one where I'm like, I like that so much, I might give it another spin. Why not?
Hell yeah.
And so I pressed the restart button. So Another Year is an example of a movie that I loved. And also like another movie like Broadcast News, any like Albert Brooks movie I loved. And unfortunately, some Woody Allen movies. And
Damn.
yeah, I'm a real sicko.
I've never seen any Woody Allen movie, so I don't
really?
know if that makes me more canceled or less canceled in the film community. I'm not sure.
I think less. I mean, like, they're not, I don't think, if you ever get interested in it, I mean, like, there's some
It like
movies,
seems like a bad time to get interested in it now.
Yeah, I mean, also, like, you know how you had to, like, separate the art from the artist? Sometimes
classically.
sometimes he's making movies that it's just there's no separate, like Manhattan, you can't really separate.
Okay.
But
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
yeah, I mean, if the subject matter kind of matches what he's canceled
okay.
for.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's hard, but he is unfortunately a really good filmmaker that's really good. He's a good filmmaker. But
Yeah.
he's just a little fucking creep, and he's a pest. And if you don't want to see any of his movies, I can't blame you.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe I'm on the good side of history now. I don't know.
Yeah,
Film heads seem to react when they hear I've never seen a Woody Allen movie. Until recently, I'd never seen a David Lynch movie either, but I've started that journey. I know.
Honestly, who cares? I
know.
They're a bunch of bozos. Get over it. Who cares? Literally, I'm saying that because I don't even watch movies. Like, who fucking cares? I mean, I think with like David Lynch, you might get something out of it if you do enjoy, I don't know, weirdo stuff.
Weirdo
but
shit.
I mean, that's obvious. I mean, you'll get to it when you get to it. It's fine.
I've seen 2 recently.
Which ones have you seen?
I watched Mulholland Drive was one, and the other, oh fuck, I just watched it literally last weekend. Inland Empire.
Oh, you
It was
saw
Inland
that?
Empire. Yeah.
Where did
I
you
saw
see
that in
that?
the theater. It was playing in a theater near me, so
Oh, that's cool.
I went and saw it.
I don't think I've seen that one. I saw that when it came out, and I have no memory of it now. I remember, I remember the Rabbits TV
Yeah.
show, and did you enjoy those films?
I loved Mulholland Drive.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, I think there were good things about it. There were parts I enjoyed. As a whole, I'm not sure. I just
Yeah.
think it was. I think it was too long. There was like too much of it.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, that's
I think
a lot
they
of,
could cut a whole hour out of it and probably make a pretty good film.
That's a lot of DV tape that they ran
Yeah.
through. Mhm. I honestly don't remember it, and I kind of do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have been talking about it now because it's been doing that theatrical run, and so I want to see it. But
And it was Easter, so the whole bunny thing.
oh, is that why they're doing that?
I don't know, but I did see the clip from the bunny parts online a lot in the last couple days, and I'm
I
like,
bet
it's
you
random
that's
that I
exactly
just saw
why
this
they
movie.
did that. I guarantee
Maybe.
that's exactly why they did that, which is that's fine.
Probably so.
But that's cool that that's getting another. I hate that when movies are not available online. That's my one
Yeah,
thing.
it's fucked up.
That's coming from a bozo
We're
who doesn't
spoiled
see.
now.
I mean, that's coming from a real dummy that doesn't see these things. But sometimes you want to watch shortcuts, and you're like, how can I
I
see
know.
this movie?
I just bought Shortcuts on DVD, actually, when I was in LA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but yeah, you can't. It's nowhere. It's like, what the
Yeah,
hell? You
and
gotta
it's-
buy the DVD. Now
The
my
one
DVD
time I want to
collection's
see,
growing.
I know.
want
The
this
one
shit.
time I want to see a movie, you guys really screwed it up, and
It's
so I went
never
back onto
online.
YouTube and I watched
What'd you watch?
golfing. I watch golfing videos for some reason. I don't even golf.
But you'd rather watch that than film.
Yeah, I've seen more golfing videos than I've seen of Janice films,
Hell yeah.
and it's like upsetting because I don't golf. I have no interest in it. It's just there's something about it.
But
that
one day your talent will be needed in the golf community, and you'll be there to shine.
I guarantee you it will not, but I'll be there.
There will be some golf-related emergency, and you'll be called on, and you'll be like, I'm here, I'm your guy.
I
Ready to go.
know the jargon for some reason. I know what a bump and run is.
Let me translate these guys for you normal people.
I talked to Alex recently about my blind spots in movies too. Like I've never seen Raging Bull, I've never seen Psycho, Casablanca, I've never seen Barry Lyndon, and I'm a Kubrick man.
Yeah. I've seen some of these. Alex roasted me because I didn't like Barry Lyndon, but I don't know. I did watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I have a sickness where I don't really like movies that take place earlier than 1950, and I don't know why that is. I just like my
I think
brain
that's
doesn't
fair.
enjoy that. I don't know.
They don't have TVs.
I guess so. I'm a TV nut.
There you go. What are they doing all day? They got no TV. They're not online. No phones.
Yeah,
These people are boring.
So yeah, I don't.
They're doing
So
riding horses. Blech.
I know. So that when I like went through all of his films, I go, I think I'm gonna skip this one, and I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I've only more recently started diving into like older films like that too, I think. But I started with weird shit.
Yeah, I just assume that you've seen everything. Yeah, I mean,
I've seen older weird shit.
the amount of short films that you see is
Yeah.
you got.
I do watch a lot of shorts.
No
Well,
one,
I've been doing no one watches them.
no one enjoys them.
Just me. I love them. Can't get enough of this stuff.
That's great. I
I'm
really
watching shorts all
appreciate-
day.
Yeah, I love that.
I've been doing a short film challenge for 2 years where I watch a short every day, but I usually end up watching more than one.
Where do
every
you?
day.
So where do you go? Where do you find these things?
I mean, it's like anything where once you start finding them, you keep finding more, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, when you find a cool comedian, you go to their show, now you found a couple more and you keep going, So you find some, you start finding more. But I'll say it started for me with when I did Relaxer for the podcast. Have you seen Relaxer with Andre? in
Yeah.
it?
It's
Yeah.
great.
So I was doing research for that film, and a lot of the people who worked on that film also had short films, including Andre Highland, and I loved them. I don't know, so I just kept going from there.
I mean, that's
Andre's
a great
the
place to start. Yeah.
Andre's the one who told me about your shorts, actually.
Oh, that's what's up. That's really nice of him.
He also told me about Squirrel and got me into Alex's films. So
That's really cool. Yeah, that's a great place to start because his shorts are like actually short and they're very good. And so,
well, his newer ones are. I mean, he has like old shorts. He's been making shorts since like 1999.
oh
He
yeah,
has, like,
I guess I don't really see those as shorts. Like when I think of shorts, I think of like a more
something that got into Sundance, and if it didn't, then it doesn't count.
something that didn't get exactly. Those are my criteria. Um, and I go, did this get into Sundance? They go, no, and I go, well, that's not a short.
No. Put this on YouTube. This is a YouTube video.
That's a YouTube video. I watch that with my golf videos. Okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he has a whole. I went to a thrift store one day and in Hollywood, and one of his DVDs was in the DVD section.
Really?
And yeah, and then I was like, oh, this is funny. I sent him a picture of it.
The Blonde
and-
Chili DVDs?
Yeah, and then I just watched it, and he had like so much stuff on there.
Yeah. And he has a ton of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where my like shorts, I don't know, interest started, I guess. But then, you just find more stuff. I watch stuff on No Budge, or
Classic.
I'll just be looking up people's like IMDb's and just
Yeah.
like adding everything they've done to my watch list. I don't know. If I find somebody cool in something, yeah, I'll just go through what have they been in
That's what's
and
up.
add it to my list. And then you can spread out that way.
Do you have a in your head the best short you've ever seen?
I would say the best short I've ever seen. I have some favorites. I have like a list of favorites. I don't know if I have a best short I've ever seen. I think Earache is like a perfect short. Alex's short.
I was supposed to edit that, and I started editing it, and I gave up on it, and I said, you got to give this to someone else. And it's not because I didn't like it. It's because I hate working, and I hate doing favors. And so it turned out great, and I was like, that's not thanks to me.
I was looking because I made a list of the best ones that I watched last year. So I was looking to find it real quick. Mm-hmm. License and Registration, Jackson Easinga short, I love.
Never heard of it, never seen it, but I would like to look into it.
Business, Katie Skelton, great short. Crown Prince, Sammy Birch, Alex Mechanic, great short. Assholes by Johnny Look, love that short. Slapper by Lucy Schroeder, love that. Cool Dad, Alex's thing.
You should start giving out awards. Is what I mean, there's no one really else out there that can do. I think No Budge and of course like Vimeo does it, but I think we just need one more outlet.
Yeah, one more just a little freak with no stakes, no stake in the game.
But I will no. I guarantee if you give someone an award, it will be a prized possession.
You think so?
Because no one watches these shorts except for you and four other people, and you actually really do enjoy them, and you see like the
do.
potential in them, and so
Yeah.
I think people would enjoy a award ceremony that you put
People
on.
seem to be really happy if I just tag them on Instagram.
No, because you work so hard on these dumb little things, and
Yeah.
no one watches them because people. That's not what people do. That's just we're not put on earth to watch shorts, and so anytime people show any enjoyment, it's like very gratifying. And it also does a lot of harm because no one should be making shorts. You shouldn't be. Shouldn't be doing this.
You think end shorts?
I say end shorts. Everyone needs to make a feature.
You're anti-shorts. Now that you made one feature.
Yeah, I made one feature because someone called me and offered me money. It's like not that easy. I'm basically a spoiled brat when it comes to a feature.
Now your features from here on out. You're over shorts. Shorts
Yeah,
guys, losers.
Yeah, I'll be making a short within a month. I
It's like
guarantee
make
it.
a feature already, dumbass.
Dumbass. And then 2 months, I guarantee I'm gonna be on a set making a short, and I go.
You just did.
I really,
It's gonna come out.
I really hope Screen Vomit says something about this.
I will. You can think if you're out there making a short and you're like, who's this for? Nobody's going to watch this. And you can go, Scream Vomit, Kayla's going to watch this.
That's what's up.
Because I will be. Guaranteed. All right. 40 minutes into recording, should we talk about the
Yeah, go for it. And this movie's really long. It's really confusing.
We're going to be here all day.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, I did want to ask you also, like, if you're a big PTA head, big Paul Thomas Anderson head, what's your relationship with his films?
I kind of came
Or have
into
you seen them?
I've seen them all, and I think I came into it kind of late. Once I moved to LA, like I've already seen Punch Drunk Love in high school, and I really enjoyed it, but I never like care to look up like the director and see if he had other films. I just kind of enjoyed it for what it was. My brother worked at a video store, and so he would like bring movies. And so the two movies that he brought home that was like very impactful to me was Punch Drunk Love and Pink Flamingo. So I watched that, and then later I saw all of his other stuff, and they're really good. I mean, he's just like, you know, Quentin Tarantino. There's a certain like there's a certain level of quality that you can expect from him that's fun and great, and so it's just like cool to see his movies.
Yeah.
I'm not like a fanatic or anything about him. I just like, you know, he makes really good movies, and they're very fun to watch. Some I really respond to, like Inherent Vice, and some I don't really respond to that well, like Phantom Thread. Even though I recognize that they're all like really good. And I'm thinking that I watched Licorice Pizza 2, and I left the screening going, yeah, it's great. It's a fine movie. Making me think maybe this is another one of those movies that I might really enjoy off
On
of
a second watch.
Yeah, I might watch that movie again, even though I shouldn't, because there's like 4,000 movies I need to see. I can't be watching fucking broadcast news every day. I need to move on. I need to... But,
Yeah,
okay.
expand your horizons.
Yeah, but so I'm not like I really like his movies, but because
You're not
like,
a freak about it.
everyone
You
loves
just-
his movies.
yeah.
It's like, I mean, I'm not. There's nothing
If it's
weird
out, you're going to
here.
go see it.
Yeah, it's like someone saying they like David Lynch at this point. Like, who cares?
You're not a PTA pervert. You just are kind of into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just like to watch.
Oh, imagine. Oh, I really like Woody Allen movies, and I imagine being. I'm a Woody Allen pervert. Ew.
Yeah, don't say that again. But I will be clipping that. And
Oh,
putting
for
it
sure.
out.
I don't care. Go for it. I mean, I'll run it by my lawyer too. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just for clearance. So you can't sue me on that.
Right.
I have verbal permission. Okay, so this film, much like I think most of his films, has a crazy cast. I mean, every celeb's in here. Joaquin Phoenix, Owen Wilson, Reese Witherspoon, I don't know, etc. Josh Brolin, Maya Rudolph. It goes on. Martin Short, Jenna Malone.
Yeah, Martin Short that's a great.
in it.
I mean, it's a great cast. I mean, it's like it's
Yeah.
weird seeing these people where you're like, wait, Martin Short is in this? When did this happen?
Every time we turn the corner is another celeb.
Yeah.
Also, the score for this film, done by Johnny Greenwood of Radiohead, famously. And this is a very random credit, but I think it's random. The colorist for this film, Kostas Theodosiou, also did color for Hardcore Henry, which is the film I did with Bud on the podcast.
Oh, really? Is that the GoPro movie where they?
Yeah. Uh-huh. And it's like a Russian indie film, so it's like so random that they share a colorist.
That's great.
All right, and critic scores for this film, we have 73% on Rotten Tomatoes and 81 from Google users. So that's like a pretty good C movie, B minus.
I think C movies are the best movies now.
Yeah.
Sometimes these 10 out of 10 movies they're fine, but give me a C movie.
You don't
Those-
recommend 10 out of 10 movies. That's actually a non-recommend for you.
10 out of 10 movies are movies that you like, and then you leave the theater, you never think about it ever again. But these C movies really stick with you. Or
Yeah.
or sometimes
They're
they don't.
growers, not showers.
Exactly. That's
Oh,
my
yeah.
that's my new hot take that I'm dishing out everywhere I go.
So when people go back to listen to your podcast, they'll know what the real truth is.
That's
When
right.
you rate every movie 10 out of 10. Hell yeah. All right, getting into this film. All right. here we go.
When was the first time that you saw this movie?
Last week.
Okay, cool. So this is like
Yeah.
okay.
I had
great.
not seen this until you selected it and
That's
made me
great.
do it.
I really enjoy that that's the case.
I actually owned it on DVD though. I randomly there's like a used or like a resale DVD place near my house that has like resale video games and stuff too. And they had like a buy 3 get 6 free thing going on with DVDs.
What is going on with this wacko store?
I don't know, man, but I got 9 DVDs for like $6.
Yeah.
And it rocked.
Buy
And anyway, that
7,
was
get
one.
9. Come on in.
I think they just have so many DVDs, and they're like, people are not buying this shit. We gotta unload this.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly crap. But anyway, so I randomly just owned this on DVD already. And been meaning to watch it. So yeah, this was my first view. I actually watched it twice now. I watched it again yesterday.
Wow. Is that just to get a better grip of what the hell you just saw?
Yeah, well, so one of my toxic traits is if a movie's over 2 hours, I struggle. Because it just feels so long to me.
Yeah.
So not only do I struggle, but then I'll pause it a bunch, and then I actually make it take like 10 hours.
Yeah, me and my wife saw The Worst Person in the World, and that was like it was hard for us. It was a struggle, even though
You
like
watched that at home?
yeah, because I stole the damn
Yeah.
thing, and
Ooh, cops fuck off. Don't
that's
listen.
fine. I like when people just you can steal whatever
Yeah.
if enough people are talking about it, it's fine.
If enough people steal, it's no longer a crime.
Yeah, it's
I
not
think
like-
that's how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, and so. Whenever my movie comes out online, please steal it. It's like, who cares?
Hell yeah.
Um,
So you stole
but-
it and you struggled.
Well, it's just we just like it wasn't struggled because it was a bad movie or anything. We struggled just because our attention spans have just been poisoned by YouTube.
And going in, you knew it had a longer runtime.
Yeah.
time.
And also
you just know you have that ahead of you.
And also my wife didn't like it, and so
Really? Did you like
yeah.
it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Whitney said it was she enjoyed it. She recognizes it. It's like one of those classic movies where enough people say it's their favorite movie they've ever seen, and you kind of want to go calm down, and then you watch
Yeah.
it and you want to hate it because of how everyone has been talking about it.
Yeah.
But she had it was like to her she saw it as like a clear male fantasy type movie, which I definitely see it as like, it takes, you getting cancer for a girl to come back and like finally see all the qualities about you that are whatever.
Yeah.
And so she was like,
see that.
she was annoyed by it.
Yeah.
And she also is not a big fan of like big flashy filmmaking where it's just like you use like these little cute little tricks. She said it reminded her of 500 Days of Summer.
I haven't seen that film, but I'm familiar with its
That type of like
false.
style. And so yeah, so when she said that, I'm like, I get it. But I also I enjoyed it. It's good.
I loved the movie, but I saw it in theaters too, so it's kind of a different experience. Time
me-
passes different in theaters. Huh.
To me, if the movie was a C, I'd be loving it right now. But because I'm a toxic contrarian.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. So yeah, the first time I watched this film, which is what is it, like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something? That's
Yeah.
a guess. I don't know. Yeah, I just was not into the runtime, and then it gets like so boggled. It gets really boggled with details and characters and just a lot coming in.
Yeah.
That I struggled with it the first time. So I watched it the second time. I was like doing stuff and had it on, so it was less of like me having to pay like full attention to it, and it was easier for me that time.
Right. Okay. Now, what grade do you give it? I think this is too early in the podcast to do
It's
this,
too
but-
early.
Okay. So let's just I'm gonna save that for later.
You got to save that for the end.
Okay.
But because also I think the discussion has potential to sway.
Okay. Cool.
Always is what I always go. I go in with an open mind.
Yeah.
All right, so this film is based on a book by Thomas Pynchon. So PTA actually adapted the book into the screenplay by typing it up word for word and then chopping it down from there, which seems psycho, but I respect.
Wait, he typed the. Wait. Did he just he transcribed the book?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it, but I'm sure he did that so he can say that in an interview. But sure.
I guess so I'm not a reader, all right? In 2022, are we reading? Like, not.
No,
Not really.
We're watching golf on YouTube.
Yeah, we're busy watching short films and golf. So I'm no reader. I claim no knowledge of Thomas Pynchon's like legacy or whatever. But just based on like what I've read online, because I do go online. It seems like he has quite a big following. Like, people really are fans of his work, and he has this like psycho style that, I don't know, people really dig. And PTA is like his biggest fan. This is his third novel that he's tried to turn into a film, the only one he's done successfully.
Right.
I know that Bookheads had a big reaction to this.
Oh, those sickos?
Those sickos. So, like, are we listening to them? I don't know. Are we taking their word? No.
So what do they think? I'm curious because I'm not a book guy either. I know about like his books and whatever, and like his style, as much as I can like gain from a Wikipedia article. But
yeah, so just from what I've read, his books seem like they're so like over the top and just have like a million things going on. They're really like trippy and wild and crazy, and Bookheads didn't seem to think that this movie was quite over the top enough. Like, it didn't go that crazy, where his books are so psycho.
Like, it felt like the movie made sense, and they got, this is making sense, and I'm pissed off.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, because for as much as I struggled with how many characters and how many details in every character there is in this film, and each of them having a psychotic name too. Yeah. I guess there are like dozens more in the book version. So there's like even way more in that, and it's even harder to follow. So I don't know. But anyway, this was based on that book.
Yeah.
There's also a rumor that the author made a cameo somewhere in the film, but nobody will say where.
Yeah, he's like a classic weirdo where there's like no photos of him. He's kind of like Terrence Malick, even though Terrence Malick does have that one photo of him.
He hasn't been photographed since the 1950s, is what I read, until he somewhere appeared in this film.
That's great. I mean, all that is fun. The stuff like that, to me, is really fun to know, and it's like part of the experience. And I do, even though I would like to make fun of that, stuff like that, I do enjoy.
You respect it.
That type of,
that type of weirdo.
That's interesting. That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know, like never having a picture of yourself for like your entire life, basically. That seems wild.
Yeah, I guess like what he's really saying is there's no press photos of him. Yeah, and I'm curious. Yeah, it's like conversations like this make me like maybe I'll sit down and like crack one of his books, because I have a lot of his books out here. And I don't know. I have like Gravity's Rainbow.
You own his books.
I own his books. I own like a lot of Philip Roth. I own a lot of books.
So you're a bookhead.
And I will tell you what.
You've been a closet bookhead this whole time.
I'll tell you one little secret about me. I haven't read a single one of these stinkers. And I love buying books, and I love. And I sit down and I read the first chapter, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I know. This is painful. This like hurts me. It physically hurts me to read this.
Were you ever a reader? Like, were you a reader in high school or anything? No.
Nope.
I was a huge reader in school. Like, I would read like multiple books per day. I was like obsessed with the stuff. And somewhere along the line, I don't know, I lost some brain cells in there somewhere and can't do it anymore.
At least you had that experience once. I mean, so the one experience I've had with reading a book was...
You've read one book.
I've read one book. Well, I've read Old Man and the Sea. I didn't hold that knowledge in my head for high school. That's like one book I got away
I never
with.
read any book that was assigned to me in class, even though I was reading 4 or 5 books per day.
I had the exact same experience. I could not
read anything that was assigned to me.
I had the exact same experience, but while you were reading other books outside of that, I wasn't reading a damn thing. So I was just never reading. But I heard Charlie Kaufman was like adapting a book, and I'm like, all right, I'm curious, because I feel like if he likes this book so much, I would like to read it too. And it just so happened the book was like really short. So something happened to where I finished the damn thing, and I really enjoyed the experience. And so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this again. And I've started it many times, and
you haven't done a book to completion.
No, I think the one that I've got the closest to completing was my Year of Rest and Relaxation, I think. I got like 2/3 of the way through, and I just stopped. I don't know why. There's nothing about the book that made me disinterested. I'm like interested in the book, but I have so many more books that I've just like, I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. I don't know why I'm still buying the damn things.
Sometimes they're interesting. I buy a book every now and again. I bought John Lurie's autobiography, but I don't know. I don't read anything. But you know what's interesting is that I think the same effects that you can have from reading a lot of books, you can also get from watching a lot of movies. Like when I used to read a lot, like suddenly you find yourself like using bigger words and you're like, where did that word come out of my mouth?
I cannot do that.
You can't relate because you didn't read.
That's no. I have the temptation to say big words a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And it does nothing but backfire on me. They go, "What did you just say? And how did you use it?" I go, "I don't know. I'm just trying to branch out here."
Then you get shy and you don't commit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then that's gonna flop. You have to commit.
Yeah. So I think I'm gun shy now.
Oh, okay.
When I find a new interesting big word that I want to break out.
You say, no, I'll stay dummy.
Okay, did we learn last time you did this?
But I think, yeah, so I would have that experience. Like if I'm reading a lot of books, all of a sudden I'm using these big ass words and I'm sounding all smart. But I think if I watch a lot of challenging films, the same thing happens to me. And I find that interesting. I think people sell films short. They act like watching a lot of TV like rots your brain, but I think it can have the opposite effect actually.
Yeah, I mean, I've had effect of like reading something and being entertained in a way where I'm like, I can't replicate this feeling anywhere else, not even like audio form. It's like such a personal experience, and it's like something that I really admire. But like, I'm just like, my brain is just poisoned with.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I really
read a couple
wish.
lines, go on Instagram.
I really wish the internet would go out for just a day, please. I would be so much smarter with those 12 hours.
Not me. I can't handle it. So this film is set in the year 1970 in the fictional town of Gordita Beach, California, which is modeled after Manhattan Beach in South Bay area of LA, Los Angeles County, where the author lived from 1969 to 1970. So,
and I feel like the movie did replicate pretty well of like
that era.
Yeah, it just like it felt like, you know, like because when you go to I've gone to the area where they filmed where his house is, and if you look, there's a shot where it goes like straight down the alley to the water, and you can see his place to the left and the right. It looks just like that still, and then you look just an inch to your left, and there's a condo, like a brand new condo, and like zoomies
so it's
or something.
Perfectly framed to only get the retro shit in there.
Yeah,
or the new stuff was edited out. We'll never know.
Oh yeah, there's a place like in downtown where when he's walking to the police station and he gets bumped into the police and he falls on the ground, it pans over. And then comes back, and I'm like, I know where that is, but if you pan to the right, that's not what you see. And it turns out it was all CGI.
Wow.
You watch a movie, and you don't know that most movies you see now are basically just Pixar movies, and you just don't know.
I think that rips.
Yeah.
That's what they call movie magic.
Exactly. That's where it comes from.
I have respect for movie magicians. And PTA loves a 70s flick, too. What is this, like his third? Well, now he has 3 or 4 of them in his bag. Obsessed with this stuff.
And I think I looked it up one time, and he was like a little kid in the 70s. So
I saw some review on this movie that was like, I'm old, and my parents were around this age in the 70s, and they're dead, so who's this movie for?
Yeah.
So everyone who was this age in the 70s is dead, so yeah, it's just for people who are 70s perverts.
I feel like it's like me making a movie about the 90s. Like, technically I did live in the 90s, but I have no real memory of it, of like what was really going on.
But we collect a little bit of the culture.
I guess so. I guess I did go to every Nirvana show as a kid, and I did vote for Bob Dole, so as a kid.
As a kid, yeah. You were one of those fake votes that they warned you about.
That was me.
Hell yeah.
I'm here for Bob Dole, ma'am.
She goes, step right up. All right, so this is also narrated by rocker Joanna Newsom, but this is her feature debut. She had never been in a film before. Yeah.
She's incredible in this movie.
She rocks, and I think her whole look just like fits the film, and I love her voice, her speaking voice. It has interesting character to it.
Yeah.
I guess this was written, the narration of it, or at least the part of the narrator, whatever, was written for her because PTA also was a pervert for her voice.
Yeah, he's a pervert for a lot of girls, and
Hell yeah.
And it's great for movies.
Relatable.
Well, as a Woody Allen pervert,
Yeah. You are also a pervert for girls.
Uh-oh.
Her narration in the film also was basically verbatim excerpts from the book, too. So, and having her do this narration, they were able to preserve patches of the book. So, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Joanna Newsom also famously married to Andy Samberg, who has a supporting role in your film.
That's right. That's true. He doesn't know that yet, but that's true.
Do you think he doesn't know?
No, he doesn't know. I guarantee he doesn't know, and I guarantee he probably will never know.
You never know.
Yeah,
it could have
that's
made
true.
its way. He'll be working
If
on
it did,
making its
I don't
way.
know about it. So
Let's talk about Joaquin's character. He's like a PI, big ass stoner. He's got big ass sideburns. I guess the way he looks was inspired by a pic of Neil Young from 1970.
this all checks out. Yeah.
He does a lot of smoking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of seeing someone smoke a cig in a movie. I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. Yeah, it's very cinematic.
There's a lot of like slow motion smoke blowing in a billowy way where it's like translating on film in this.
Right.
Like when you see people who are obsessed with vaping and they do lots of clouds.
God, I have a photo on my Instagram. I mean, if anyone's interested, I went to San Francisco one time, and a guy blew some smoke at the pier. So big, I go, you fit all that in your body?
He said, where'd that come out of?
Where did that come from?
Did you replace your blood with smoke?
Yeah, I think he did.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
So I guess the mystery begins when Joaquin's ex-girlfriend comes by his house. Her name is Shasta Faye, famously two sodas, right?
Exactly.
Shasta Soda and Fago. She has a rich, famous boyfriend who's a real estate mogul named Wolfman. He's married, and his wife also has a boyfriend, and the two of them are trying to get him committed to a loony bin and take his money, is what we think at first, right? Mm-hmm. So she's coming to him for help?
I will say, I'm going to step in real quick.
Yeah.
I do not envy this job that you're about to partake in.
Breaking this down?
Breaking down this movie. I mean, you could speed it up if you like to.
I've skipped some parts in my notes.
Okay, good. Because there's a lot of details.
We got to
in
do
this
a little setup.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of detail in this movie, but I would say at a certain point the details
It don't matter.
It don't
Yeah.
matter. But go on.
I think that's kind of what PTA leaned into too.
Yeah.
That the details don't matter. He said he doesn't expect you to keep everything together, to piece everything together, and that like he was inspired by older noirs. Like The Big Sleep was one that I read.
Yeah.
That he said that movie specifically made him realize he couldn't follow any of it and it didn't matter.
Right. Well, I think I think he did grab big inspiration from like noirs and Thomas Pynchon, and but I really do think that a big source of inspiration, and I'm just making this up from my brain, but it has to be true, is that there has to be huge inspiration from The Big Lebowski, which is also a take on the LA noir, but done through a stoner protagonist that falls into a storyline that becomes really convoluted. Oh, there's a word that I shouldn't be saying. Too big.
No, I think you did a good job with that.
Thank you so much. That is meant to confuse him, and it all builds and it all makes sense because it deals with a character that is going through a stoner haze, and the haze that they're talking about in this movie is like the 70s haze of just like conspiracy and just untrust and also drug fueled.
Post the Manson stuff, they mention that a lot in this movie. So there's a lot of mistrust from the government towards people. They think everybody's a cult. There's a lot of drugs going on. There's a lot of informants. This was like around Red Scares and stuff. Like there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on at this point in time.
Have you seen Big Lebowski?
Yes, I have. No, I agree. That's a great observation too. And I wouldn't have thought about that on my own, but now that you mention it, yeah.
I don't know if he's ever. I think he's probably has mentioned it before, but it's like I'm a huge fan of the Big Lebowski, so it was like inescapable watching it.
I haven't seen it in a while, and it's not a movie I think of that often. So it didn't come to me like that, but I think that's a great observation. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's the only good observation I'm going to really dish out here.
No, you have opinions.
Thank you.
I think at this beginning part when Shasta's in the house and everything, I was having a lot of trouble understanding what they were saying. I had to turn on the damn subtitles here.
Yep.
They're like whispering, they're not enunciating. This was a full-on subtitle-ass movie.
I had friends that saw an early screening of this in a theater at a hotel in downtown LA. And the hotel screening did not have great sound. And they were like, I really enjoyed the movie, but I don't know what the hell people were saying half the time. And I was like, well, that theater must suck. And then I saw the movie, and I go, oh, no, this is part of the experience.
Yeah. It's part of it that you have to turn on the subtitles. Another thing that happens early in the film for him is that he was told to get over his ex, he needs to change his hair, to change his life. And he does a little perm. So he comes out with gorgeous curly hair. And famously doing something silly to your hair early in a movie is also...
It's a great device. It ruins the filming of the movie because sometimes you have to jump back and forth and you have a different haircut and hair color. But
he just did a curl, which was probably much easier. Maybe you should have done a perm instead.
Oh, that would have been way harder. Because I had a. We filmed.
I think looking at your face with a perm in your hair, that would just be the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I think I would do that for the next movie, as long as it's a perm the whole time, so I don't have to go back and refilm something. But yeah, making yourself look really stupid really it helps with acting because it really just there's no vanity at that point.
You're already a goofy, so you're not worried about anything else. Yeah. Yeah, that rocks. And he looked cute with his little perm. What's the deal with his workplace?
Oh, yeah, that little doctor's office?
Yeah, it's like a doctor's office that he has like a PI office out of, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool. It's all great. I mean, it's like, at this point, I'm not questioning anything. I'm just going in with the assumption of wouldn't it be weird if we did this? And that's how deep it goes. This is why I really enjoy the movie, because sometimes I watch a movie and I kind of get lost in the plot. But here I know that confusion is part of the experience, so I kind of let myself go, and I kind of switch my brain off a little bit, and then I kind of hop on the movie's wavelength. And I kind of just take it for a ride and not worry about wait, what name did he say, and who is he talking to, and why does it matter? So
you stopped caring early on, and you were I
embrace the confusion, and I turn off my brain, and I start
drooling. Yeah. So what's happening is I was trying to follow it.
That's a rookie mistake.
That's my rookie mistake. I fucked up. Okay. So you actually have the smarter brain because you just turn it off.
No, because the first time I watched it, I tried to watch it. I try to, you know, and I go, this is a real C movie, and I walked out.
If I wasn't doing this for the podcast, I wonder if I would have approached it differently. Just because since I am doing it for the podcast, I feel like I need to take note of everything, remember everything.
Yeah, I don't think you fully have seen the movie yet. I will say. I think one day it will somehow be on, and you'll just be like, "Oh, my phone died. I guess I'll just watch this again," and then you'll fully get the real experience.
Okay.
And you'll be like, "Why am I drooling all over the place?"
Yeah, so I haven't seen the movie yet, apparently, but one day I will. Until then, I'll try and talk about what I think the movie was.
Exactly.
Maya Rudolph also playing the secretary in his little office. Maya Rudolph, famously PTA's life partner, and this is their first film collab.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah.
And in one of the scenes with Maya Rudolph, one of her mom's songs can be heard playing in the background, which is a
great song.
Les Fleurs by Minnie Riperton. In the search for this man, Joaquin Doc. His name's Doc in the film. Yeah. I'm not great at keeping up with character names.
I'm not either. That's the one thing that I can watch a movie and then talk about it with my friends, and they would say their name, and I go, well, I don't
know who you're talking about when you do names. There's so many psycho names in this film too.
Yeah.
Over time, they just get really crazy. But yeah, he goes to this ex-convict's old gang turf, and it's just this trailer in the middle of the desert, basically.
It's like a development zone. It feels like a zone that's about to have a ton of like a suburban sprawl. It's Yeah, there's a lot of things about this, and it also has like those like banners or flags that you would see in a used car dealership all
yeah.
around it. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it has like that eerie feel of like familiarity between like oh, this is like a development, but it's also a sex house. Well, classically, that's what they're called. They're called sex houses.
Sex house. With just two ladies inside.
Yes, and a person with a bat.
Oh, yeah, and a person with a bat who whops Joaquin on the head. Gives him a little bop. And when he wakes up from the bop, he's next to a dead body on the ground, and that's when we meet Bigfoot. That's Josh Brolin's character.
Yeah, a great character, and the most this is like the movie is very confusing, but his like involvement in the movie is the most confusing, or the most I get confused because how it evolves. I guess you'll find out.
Why? What makes you think that, or why do you say that?
Because he has a character arc, and he's like an actor, but he's also a policeman, and I
forgot of his actor backstory.
I can never get his backstory straight, or his history, or like where he is in his career, or like what he's like, and like at the end he has something happens, and I that arc of him I don't follow. I've never been able to follow completely.
It's like they give us a little bit of backstory, but not enough to where we feel solidly grounded in it.
Yeah, which is like the
but
whole.
Enough
This
to where
is
it's
like
just confusing. Yeah.
That's exactly enough. Like the movie, its job is to give you enough information to lead you to some obvious questions that will never get answered. So you like your brain starts creating this fog of like confusion, which is supposed to be mirroring the protagonist's confusion too. So I mean, it's a great device.
So you're supposed to feel like you're fucked up on drugs and while you're watching this.
And they do that to you by just giving you weird information that leads
by
nowhere.
purposely making you confused.
Which is why people don't enjoy this movie, because they just like this movie is very confusing, and they go, well, yeah, but you're supposed to feel that confusion, so you feel you're basically watching this movie in 4D. The protagonist is confused, and so are you.
Yeah, but he stays a little sharp throughout it. I mean, he still is like piecing together clues. He's taking the yarn from this side to that side. You know?
That is true. Yeah.
Sometimes I felt like I wasn't taking the yarn from this side to that side.
Yeah, that is a little weird. The disconnect there between like you're not fully getting it, but for some reason, most of the movie it does feel like Doc kind of has like a grasp. Like he's following a lead, and but it's like.
He's one of those high-functioning drug heads.
That's right.
I guess I'm not. Just the whole look of this Bigfoot character is great. He looks like a G.I. Joe. He has that ultra-flat top, incredible. And he has, like, the painful backstory, too, where, like, his cop partner was murdered. Somehow his story is, like, his cop partner was murdered. Also, he's an actor. Also, now he's just an asshole cop who has, like, some kind of Tom and Jerry thing going with Doc.
When do we first see him? Do you remember? Do we first see him when he's doing? Yeah. Do we first see him where we see him in the cop lineup outside of the sex house, or do we see him for the first time in the commercial where he's wearing the fake wig?
Ooh, I believe the commercial in the fake wig is not the cop, is it? I thought that was. Fuck, is it the cop?
I think it's the cop.
For some reason, I thought that was Wolfman.
I don't even remember.
I think I am wrong.
I'm so confused. And that means I'm
now thinking that I am wrong and that you are correct.
Yeah, I think that's the first time that you see him. Or
if
it's not the first time,
that
it's
definitely
really
happens before the lineup thing.
Okay, then so when you see him as a cop, you're like, the guy from the TV commercial? What is going on?
Well, I clearly didn't even realize it was the same person. Well, because when he's in the commercial, too, he has, like, a huge afro on.
Yeah.
He's basically doing blackface. And does he have, like, big shades on, too, in the commercial?
I don't remember. But he talks the exact same throughout, though. He doesn't put on a voice or anything.
In the commercial?
Yeah, he just says, like, words like groovy or something. But he has the same, like...
You're right. The voice is the same, but the lingo might be a little different.
Yeah.
I guess Jim Carrey was also considered for the role of Bigfoot, which could have been an interesting choice.
Yeah.
He basically is the same character as one of his guys in Me, Myself, and Irene, right? Isn't one
I
of those
guess
guys?
so, but like I don't think he can like get across the sternness of like in Me, Myself, and Irene, he's like really stern and like angry, but it still is silly. It feels silly. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I would have. I love Jim Carrey. I don't know if it would have. It would have been. It would have been something completely different, and I would have really enjoyed it. But
There is a lot of silliness in this film, but it's never played silly.
Yeah.
Or very rarely played silly, right? It's so dry. Would you agree?
yeah, especially like the where he goes to like the Japanese breakfast place, which is like which is also a scene that not my favorite scene in the movie. I will say that. I mean, same with licorice pizza. Yeah, those are not my fave. Here.
Yeah.
but that does like highlight the absurdity, but like played in a very straight manner.
Yeah. Or like the next scene after this part, I think, is when they're doing like a little interrogation with Doc and Bigfoot, and Bigfoot does that long, slow, like finger in the hole.
Yeah.
thing
Which I don't.
for,
Yeah,
like,
which is like a thing
long
that
time.
very strange. All this.
I read a lot of the interviews with the cast of this film describe the set as being organized chaos and like just talk about how chaotic it was. PTA had like no direction and just let them like do the craziest, zaniest stuff like over and over and do a million takes and just have like be huge or be crazy. But they don't have a lot of details of what they mean by that.
Yeah, no, I understand what that is. It's like, you know, you kind of want to be like, hey, what direction do you want me to take this in?
Yeah.
And then, but I think with that movie, it's just like, literally give me everything, and this is going to be my editor's problem.
Which is also crazy to do on a film that's shot on film, too. Because you're just blowing money.
Yeah, and also a film that's like, that goes a lot of places. Like, there's a lot of different setups here. Like, it's not like shot mainly in his apartment or anything. Like, they go everywhere. So it's like,
what was the budget on this, I wonder?
I think it was $1 billion, but I think I could be wrong.
20 million.
That doesn't seem like it's enough.
No. With all the locations that they have, all the costuming,
All the actors,
all the film,
just
all the actors.
all the like, you know, top tier actors. I'm sure like they take like, maybe with this movie they take like SAG, whatever the day rate is, that the the minimum is. I'm sure that's
They
what
cut a
that
deal.
is.
Yeah.
They cut a deal, but like just on like shooting on film and all that alone, I can't imagine. I can't believe that it's only 20 million.
Yeah, 20 million doesn't seem like enough for how much is going on here. Yeah, so the scene with them doing the finger in the whole sex thing, weird. Weird, long, crazy.
Yeah, weird, long, crazy, and like that joke didn't. Whatever that it is, it didn't land for me.
You didn't consider that a joke because it wasn't funny.
I wasn't laughing. I had my
Yeah.
arms crossed, and I go, "This movie better make me laugh."
And you're a professional comedian, at least at
that's
some
right.
point.
That's how. That's right.
So you would know.
I would know. I'm the authority on it. So, hey, guess what, PTA? That was not funny.
Yeah, it was just uncomfortable.
No, but what I'm saying is like that point didn't like. I wasn't like. It didn't feel like a thing like, oh, that's the thing that that character would do right then. It just like it felt off. But that's maybe part of the experience.
Yeah, it seemed like they were just encouraged to do weird shit even if it didn't make sense.
Right. Which like he's a big fan of Robert Downey. You know him?
I've heard of him. Yeah.
He's a big guy. He loves his movies like Putney Swope and all that. Which is like the absurdity is like I think he's always just wanted to make like a very I feel like with that knowledge of him loving those movies, you can definitely see that PTA
Are you talking PTA here?
Yeah,
Or
PTA
Josh
really
Brolin? Okay.
No, PTA is a big fan of Robert Downey, and I've always imagined in my head that he's just always wanted to make that like zany comedy. And so whenever I see like that weird back and forth, that weird like Asian Japanese scene
Hey.
in
Licorice pizza.
Pizza, I can see like that like race comedy being like big and like Putney Swope. I can see that connection, that influence of his, and I'm like, I don't know if this is like, I don't know if
It's something he admires but isn't maybe
can't really pull
capable
off.
of
Yeah.
of reproducing. Yeah.
And so yeah,
So you see the influence but he's not nailing it.
yeah. But he's like, besides that, he's doing everything great.
Maybe the same just with this guy's books, like that he loves them so much and thinks they're so like incredible and zany and wild, and then just isn't necessarily able to pull off that level of craziness.
Yeah, but it's also like that's a crazily impossible feat, because it's like, again, like the book can offer an experience that is so hard to replicate in in a movie, and that's why it's like The Shining is a perfect example of that. Like, it didn't get the book correct, but like it did have a tone that it could share a tone. So yeah, I think
they share some seeds.
But it's not like a perfect one-to-one, and I don't think people should really expect that out of
you're probably
adaptation.
right.
Anyways, I mean, like, a lot of people are adapting like Murakami now, and I think that's the same thing. Like, you're not getting the exact story right, but you have the overall tone is correct. Another author that I haven't read, but I have a ton of his books.
Yeah, I've never read any of his books, but I used to live with someone who was obsessed with the stuff.
Haven't we all?
You know?
There's always that one person who's real sicko for those books.
Sicko for Murakami. But yeah, so I've never read any of his crap either. But I was just thinking of like what other movies I have seen that I have read the book, and have I ever felt like the feeling necessarily translated? And I think the answer is no.
The one book that I've read recently, the Charlie Kaufman book.
I'm thinking of ending things.
That's actually a really. It's really close to one, but except for the ending. I think the ending didn't.
Did you see the movie first or read the book first?
I read the book first, and it was the first time I've ever experienced like going in with like the knowledge of the book and the feeling of the book, and watching it. And yeah, it was great. It was like almost 1-to-1 in my head, except that they left out some details that I found to be interesting. But then the third act happened, and then that totally, for me, it didn't work at all in my head. And I felt like one of those snobs that were like, well, I got this experience out of the book, and I didn't get it from the movie.
I saw the movie, but I did not read the book, and I did not like the movie. But I also was, I don't know, confused by it, I guess. I didn't really understand what it was saying, but I'm wondering if there's something I'm missing by not having read the book, which is why I asked which you did first, because I was wondering if you would have seen the movie first, if you would have understood what was happening. There are points that you understand what's happening. I don't really get the point of it.
It's like it's clearly explained in the book, and the explanation is kind of like it does cheapen the experience because it over explains to a point where you're like, whatever, like that mysterious feeling I was having is totally ruined by like knowing the exact backstory of this. And so like I think Charlie Kaufman probably tried to dampen that by making it more mysterious, but I think it does more harm than it does good, because like at the end you're like, they're singing Oklahoma, which it doesn't happen in the book at all.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I hated that. When that happened, I said,
too.
Fuck this movie.
And like one of my favorite parts about the book was the ending.
Yeah.
And the ending up to the point, because there's a point at the very end where it explains everything. I didn't care for that, but before that, she gets trapped in a high school, and it's like really weird. And I really enjoyed reading that. So I think the book's better than the movie, and I really enjoyed the movie. I just didn't enjoy the third act.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
And so how much of this other movie do we have to explain?
We're about halfway through.
Okay.
Well, I did some skips and jumps, but there's also, speaking of weird shit that Josh Brolin does in this film, the frozen banana thing.
I just like, those things don't land for me.
No.
And this is coming from a guy who loves the movie.
Yeah.
It's just like the comedic parts of this movie, I don't care for it.
Is Josh Brolin ever funny? Has he done something funny?
I don't think so. I think he's extremely charming, like in No Country for Old Men. He can say a quip or something that's really, it's funny, but in that character, it's not like, I don't think he's ever been hilarious.
He's not really in like anything that is explicitly funny.
But he's just an incredible actor, so like I'm along for the ride, whatever he does.
I'm just like, what is his personal sense of humor? He probably doesn't have one.
he did a Hot Ones, you know, the YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Playbacks on YouTube. He did one of those recently. And
where they eat hot chicken.
Yeah, and he was very charming and very cool.
Yeah, he's probably charming. He's like an A-list celeb.
He's an A-list celeb, but he grew up going. He lived in like Santa Monica, and he grew up going to Black Flag shows and the
Oh, okay.
stuff like that.
So he grew up as a little punk boy?
He a little punk boy.
Okay.
So I thought that was interesting.
Punk boys having no sense of humor?
I've never heard of that.
Heard of it.
That's like, I did grow up going to like punk shows.
Yeah, same.
Literally, that's the first thing. I went to like a Casualty show. It's like that, and my first like real punk show was like a band called A Global Threat, and it's the really honestly the first thing that I noticed is like everyone's so aggro here, and none of these people have said anything ever funny in their whole lives. I can guarantee it. So. Except for like pop punk is very funny, but like when you get to the real like gritty stuff, it's not funny at all.
When you're punk more as like subculture and less as like a style of music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. But Josh Brolin is the real punk style of music, and therefore he's not funny.
Exactly, and that's what happens when you go to a Black Flag show when you're a little kid.
Yeah.
I should really go on less tangents here, but when I first moved to LA, the thing that I did the most was rent punk documentaries because I really liked them.
Yeah.
And I've noticed like
West Coast punk specifically, or just any?
Just any. I mean, a lot of it's West Coast, like I don't know, like American.
You had to become
hardcore
familiar with the culture that you were moving into, so you didn't seem like a poser.
No, could care less. Everyone's so aggressive here when it comes to punk.
Yeah.
And I say that because like I was in a comedy group called Power Violence,
right,
which is like a subgenre of punks. And if you want to know about some really unfunny group of guys, those are Power Violence fans. Anywho, but I realized everyone in the 80s that was a fan of punk, they sounded like a goddamn caveman. And I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
Anywho, I don't need to go on that, but, you know.
No, it's interesting.
Yeah.
You're free to tangent as you wish.
For sure.
Yeah, the frozen banana thing, too, I was like, what is the joke here? And is it that doing this makes him look gay?
Yeah.
Ha ha ha, very funny.
Yeah, we're laughing at you because you're
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 doing
gay.
something gay.
Like, what the... Stop, people. Yeah. I think that's like that's a thing that I'm glad is like slowly dying out, which was like a big part of the culture growing up. Is like the being gay was the punchline.
Yeah.
And I think now it's like a thing where, all right, I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Whatever, who cares?
It's not the punchline no more. Right. Yeah, even stuff where, people like, I don't think they had like bad intentions or whatever. Like they probably had gay friends, but gay was still the punchline.
No, it's just like, it's part of the culture is what it was. It's just like, but it's
makes
like,
it tough to watch older comedy.
or newer comedies made by older people that are just like not totally up to date.
Haven't caught up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so Bigfoot and Doc continue to have this like weird contentious relationship throughout the movie. Somewhere around here, Bigfoot calls Doc, and when they're on the phone, each time in this film, their behaviors sort of mirror each other on each end. I think they both have the same color phone, first of all, which is like this like bluish green phone. But then, like...
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, because it's like a beautiful color. But then also, like, Doc will be smoking and Bigfoot will take a drink at the same time. Or there's different times where they're on the phone and, like, each of them has a partner walking around in the background. Their girlfriend or ex-girlfriend in Doc's case. So they're always kind of like... alternate universe versions of each other, sort of.
This is something I absolutely did not pick up on.
Yeah.
But having it been explained is like, oh, that's interesting. What an interesting idea.
You're like, maybe I'll watch this movie again.
You know I will. I do enjoy this. I think I might give Licorice Pizza another ride, but...
You think so?
Yeah.
I didn't know if Licorice Pizza would translate as well outside of a theater. Is kind of what I thought.
There's just some scenes in that, too, that there's certain shots too that I kind of just want to rewatch. And
yeah.
that's how they get me.
I think the next scene is with Jenna Malone.
Is she the
Owen Wilson's girlfriend?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think this is one of my favorite scenes. So, like, she calls up Doc and is like, my boyfriend's gone missing. He was friends with your ex. And so now he's on her case, too, of finding her dead or not dead boyfriend. I loved her story of how her and Owen Wilson's character met.
Yeah.
This whole scene is like so funny, but it's delivered so like deadpan and dry that you really have to think about it, but I think it's so funny.
Yeah,
like,
these are like one of the scenes that kind of makes the movie for me. Like,
yeah.
It's like because you kind of like get lost in the confusion, you try to keep up with it, and then like just a really nice scene happens. That's
really
like,
nice, like kind of longer scene for how many characters there are in this film and how little time we get to spend with so many people. That she gets a good chunk right here.
This movie like has like a weird like it has weird pacing throughout. Not weird, but like different pacing, and it's really fun to land on a scene, and then the scene just plays out a little longer, and it just feels like I don't know. I think all great hangout movies do that.
Yeah,
and I think in my head I kind of think of this as a hangout movie.
Sure.
Because you're kind of following the flow, and it's like you're not really stuck on story that much. Only if you like give up the story in your head, because I think the trap of this
and his
movie
job is kind of hanging out.
Yeah,
finding different people to hang out with and ask some questions. Just hanging out and chatting. That's what being a PI is. Yeah. So her story is that she met Owen Wilson's character because she was on heroin and he was shitting in a bathroom and she went in to puke up a balloon of drugs that she swallowed, just opened the door with her fingers already down her throat and started puked on his boner and puked up her drugs, and it was love at first sight.
But the story is told in such a sweet manner.
Yeah.
Of like
she's like having this daydream reminiscing.
Right.
It's beautiful. And and then she talks about their child together, Amethyst, and shows him a picture of the child, and Joaquin just screaming and then carrying on the scene I loved, too.
Yeah, that actually was one of the funny moments that landed for me.
Somebody told me they thought that might be, like, not real, like, not in reality, and that's why the girl doesn't react at all. Because there's no reaction. He screams in the middle of her talking, and there's no reaction from her. And somebody told me they read that as that part not being reality, just like
like that was like that was a physical representation of like what happened in his brain.
Yeah,
I could see that, but I wouldn't read into it that much. I think the movie has proved itself to be so zany that like anything is possible in this world.
That's kind of what I thought too, and that's kind of how I read all the goofy stuff that you're like, what? But I did read a lot of takes that are people being like, well, maybe this like. I read a take that was like maybe Joanna Newsom's whole character is fake and it's just like a voice in his head or something, or I don't know.
That's what I think what Paul Thomas Anderson loves that crap, because like I heard the same thing when Punch Drunk Love came out, that
really?
Like that character that Adam Sandler falls in love with is an alien, and that's why there's a lot of like stars, and when you watch the movies, there's a lot of like moon landing footage playing on TV, or maybe not moon landing, but there's a lot of space footage playing on TV, and they're all saying like, oh, that's the clue of telling you that she's actually an alien who was like fell to Earth, and her only objective was to fall in love with this guy.
So it's like a conspiracy theory based on his film.
Yeah. Same with, I think.
So you think these are conspiracy theories too?
Exactly. And this movie is, this is about the 70s where conspiracy theories happen. And
okay.
So this movie is what I'm saying is 4D chess. These are all incredibly smart moves.
Yeah, I hate to think of like movies where it's like, oh, the whole thing was fake the whole time, you know, or like it was all in their brain.
And also like all that stuff is like, I could honestly, when I watch movies, the story is the last thing I really care about. So like when people theorize about like what the character really is, it's like I could care less, because it's like that's not what I get my enjoyment from these movies. It's
you
about
say,
like,
did it have one cool shot?
What was the tracking shot like, and how long did it go for?
Was there a dolly involved? Yes or no?
Yeah, was there a dolly on set, and how long did we stay on that shot? Thank you. That's all I care about.
That's all I need to know. Yeah, so you don't give a shit about story.
Not at all.
Okay, hell yeah. I respect that.
And that's why I think I like this movie so much, is I don't care about story. I only care about characters and tone.
You never care about story.
It's rare that I do. Wait, is there a movie where I really cared about story? I don't know if there's one that stands out. I mean, like, you know, like I care about like characters' relationship and how it like builds, but like plot points and stuff like that, like I could care less.
So you're hating what's happening right now.
Exactly.
Sorry.
No, it is interesting, like, talking about this, because, like, you are bringing up stuff that, like, I haven't even noticed, like, the phone and, like, the characters doing the same stuff, which, you know, is going to be interesting on my 400th view.
Yeah. We find out about the Golden Fang, which is, like, a boat, but it's also a drug cartel. We meet Owen Wilson, who also hires Doc to try and check on his family. So his family has both hired Doc to find him, and he has hired him to find them.
It's a money-making scheme.
It's a money-making scheme, but he doesn't even take money from him. He takes information, which is
Right.
the information on the Golden Fang. So how's he making money? Because he's doing a lot of information trading throughout this thing.
Yeah, I don't think it really...
How's he paying rent in L.A.?
How are you paying for that doctor's office, my man?
And all those drugs.
There's also a thing where it's like the doctor's office. I pay $1.50 in rent every month because it's the 70s.
Oh, yeah. It is the 70s, you're right. The Wolfman was seen on this boat a couple days before he disappeared. And they say some stuff about, like, the Department of Justice was trying to get him to buy property on, like, the Vegas Strip or something. I didn't really understand what was going on
All this
there.
is flying so far over my head while I'm watching it. I go, all right, cool.
What the hell are they talking about?
Only thing I'm thinking of is like, how did they get so much fog on this pier?
There was
Wherever
a
they
lot
are.
of fog there.
That's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I guess he famously, like, never likes to use fog, but then used so much on this film. He had, like, a fight with his DP about it.
You know what? I don't think he worked with that DP ever again.
Really?
What,
I know they had a fight about it, but I don't know.
Is his next movie Phantom Thread? If it is, we don't even have to look it up. If it is, he became his own DP from then on out.
Really?
Yeah, he shot Phantom Thread and he did the DP work for his new one. So
Yeah, that was next. So, interesting.
and it's all because of fog.
They had a fight over the fog. Him and Reese are hanging out when they see Owen Wilson on TV yelling at Nixon. And that's when he finds out that Owen Wilson is, like, also an informant. And he now is trying to infiltrate political activist groups.
Yeah,
But he was a rocker previously.
a horn honker.
A horn honker.
Yes.
Famous horn honker, Owen Wilson. They call him Chucky in this part, which, thinking of Owen Wilson's face and it being called Chucky, just makes me laugh.
And the Civil Dead, we have a Chucky too.
Oh, yeah?
He's at the poker table.
Hell yeah. So Doc pretends to work for a magazine and goes to wherever Owen Wilson is staying. And we find out that Owen Wilson, like, is an informant, but kind of doesn't want to be. He's trying to get out, but he's, like, kind of trapped doing it. And now he can never return to his girlfriend and kid. Poor little fella, bless his heart.
And just to be clear, this is honestly the only storyline that I really latched onto that I kind of wanted to track. I actively wanted to, like, keep up on.
Was Owen Wilson's part?
Yeah, of like, because his objective was so clear, you know. It's just like, hey, I'm away from my girlfriend because of this, and I want to be back with her and my kid.
Yeah, it was probably the most cut and dry of everybody's drama going on. The stuff with Wolfman, like, just becomes so convoluted. There's, like, more and more layers. Like, we said the thing on, like, the strip with the property, and then we find out he was trying to build some, like, commune.
And you know from, like, the beginning of the movie that this storyline is not going to become any clearer. So I checked out.
Yeah.
Even on first viewing, I knew, like, this is, like, it's going to do me no good trying to actively stay up on this.
Yeah. So the stuff with Wolfman just keeps getting more and more twisted, more and more complicated. And it's like, okay, he's friends with Nazis, but now he wants to build, like, a hippie commune and, like, give back. He, like, has guilt for making people pay a bunch of money for shit houses. But also he's somehow embroiled with this, like, cartel. And you're like, how does that happen? And also he's having, like, all the affairs. It's like building up so much crap on
Right.
Wolfman. Yeah. So Shasta sends a postcard referencing some time that they did a Ouija board. And I think that segment was maybe directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Is it really?
I kept seeing stuff saying that Quentin Tarantino directed one of the flashbacks, but I think that's the only flashback isn't
And
it?
that was a really good flashback. And it does seem like a thing that he would have fun directing.
And there were lots of bare, dirty feet.
Oh, my. Yeah. That's him.
I'm thinking that was him. And I mean, throughout the film, we get close-ups of Joaquin Phoenix's bare, dirty feet. So I wonder if that was kind of like a shout out to my brother thing too.
No, Quentin's on set goes, I just got the zaniest idea. Hey.
So it's sus that she brings up this like Ouija board day. So he goes to the address they went to at that time, which was like some address to get drugs or something. And it's now the Golden Fang Enterprises. It's this big old weird ass building. And inside is Martin Short. And they are doing drugs again. I had trouble keeping track of the drugs too.
Yeah.
Because they don't call them they don't call them by the drug's name. It's like everything's dope.
This is
What's
like
dope?
clearly cocaine, right, though?
I was like, is it cocaine or is it just heroin that they're snorting?
Yeah.
Because they call heroin dope too, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
famously
know.
don't know shit about drugs.
Me too. I mean, that's the thing that I don't really...
I Googled, can you snort heroin?
They go, so I looked up your history. And
But it was like, yeah, but most people don't do it because it doesn't hit the same and they'd rather shoot. I don't know. So I guess you can snort heroin, but I don't know. I've seen people fade out on heroin and none of these people look like they're fading out either. So
yeah.
Jenna Malone's character talked about losing her teeth, and when they're here, he finds like a whole room full of dentists fixing people's teeth.
Oh, yeah, and that's what he thinks the Golden Fang is about?
Well, it's just connected. It's like they have like a whole bunch of businesses is what we end up finding out because they also have like a rehab center.
Yeah.
So it's like they're getting people hooked on drugs. Then they're also being the people who take the money when they need their teeth fixed because they are fucked up on drugs so much that their teeth fell out. But then also they're the people who are running the rehab so that when these people try and get clean, they're still making the money from them.
Collecting on every corner. Just every part of
Yeah.
of the experience they can collect on.
Yeah. I also liked this character, Dinas, that's in this part too. His like friend who can't drive.
Kiss your mother with that mouth?
I thought Dinas was a really goofy name. It's a little zany. Yeah, he's like tries to drive a stick shift and then comes back in and was like, no, I actually can't drive, but he's holding the steering wheel. So like,
Yeah, he's a great great character.
he's only in it for like 2 seconds, but
He's in the beginning a little bit, right? Wasn't he like he had pizza with him in the beginning?
he might have, yeah.
Yeah.
He seems to be one of his good buddies.
Yeah. You love a good buddy.
Yeah, you gotta love a good buddy. So Martin Short's character ends up becoming not alive.
In a trampoline accident or something? Or is that something I'm thinking of something else?
Yeah, I think it was a trampoline accident, or he's like found dead next to a trampoline with his
Yeah.
neck fucked up. But he had puncture wounds in his neck
Yeah.
that might be a Golden Fang puncture, but we don't know. Which we find out when Doc and Bigfoot meet up at that Japanese breakfast place, which you decided was problematic.
Yeah. I'm the king of canceling now, and it's my order that you are canceled now. Sorry.
You have to cancel other people so that they won't cancel you first.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
trying
trying to get ahead of the game.
That's right. I go, Annie Hall? Never heard of that.
You've already said you're a pervert for girls, so I don't know. We've
No, I
some
don't think I
clips
said
we
that.
Doc shows Bigfoot some pics from Owen Wilson's big party the other day, and they're like clearly a reproduction of the Last Supper picture. So that's just something silly. I guess the band The Growlers is in the picture too.
Oh, is it? Are they really?
Allegedly.
Ugh.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I know what they look like.
I know. They were like a big thing. They were.
They
big in
were.
Orange
I remember their
County.
music.
Yeah.
I think I had a CD of theirs at some point.
Yeah, it's fun. It's interesting to like find out bands in movies. I did a music video for a band called Lemuria,
I know Lemuria.
and they told me that they were in a Terrence Malick movie where they played a band that was playing at a party at a Hollywood Hills.
Really?
Yeah. Also, Black Lips is in a Terrence Malick movie.
Really?
Yeah,
I
there's
played a
some-
show with Lemuria before.
Oh, really? They're
my
really
only
cool
connection.
people. I really
Yeah.
like them.
You
But
used
yeah,
to
they
book them
told.
at this venue I used to run all the time.
Oh, yeah, they're very cool. But it's interesting to hear like them talking about being in a Terrence Malick movie because it's like,
Random.
yeah, it's like the most random director too because it's like he's like a mysterious little fella.
So did you get the inside scoop on him or what?
I did not get enough information because it's like it's just like it's like you're on set. There's so much going on, so many moving parts that you can never really feel so they couldn't feed the hunger of Clay Tatum, all the information Clay Tatum wanted, and so I began to scream, and it got really uncomfortable.
But next time you're going to send him a questionnaire in advance.
And I go,
That's part
answer
of your
this,
writer.
or I'm going to scream again.
Answer me these riddles.
That's right. I turn into the Riddler. Is what happens, for movie knowledge.
Hell yeah. Also at this little restaurant, Bigfoot mentions a drug dealer. I just thought the drug dealer's name was really crazy. Leonard James Loosemeat, a.k.a. El Drano.
At this point, honestly, I go, PTA, Thomas, Tommy Boy, I get it. Names are weird, huh? I get it. Let's move on.
Do you think he made those names, or do you think these are names from the book?
Oh, no, they're definitely from the book. There's no way that Paul Thomas Anderson... I think he loves the book so much that he would never stray
change
from
a character name, yeah.
I think I started one of his books, too. I think I started Gravity's Rainbow, whatever. And it's like one of those things where the name is so weird that you can't really say it in your head clearly. You always have a hard time, which makes the reading experience even more unlikely or unlikable for me because I have like a fifth
Because you can't
grade.
read the words.
Well, I can't read the words, and I already am starting off with a 5th grade reading level, so it's like you're not making it easier here for me.
Yeah,
pal.
it's a twist in your little
My little peanut
brain
in my
chunk.
brain.
A little too much twists and turns for a smooth brain. Yeah.
Exactly.
So Joaquin does infiltrate this rehab center, and he finds the Wolfman there.
There
I
he
guess
is,
in the
huh?
book he doesn't find him.
Oh,
I guess
really?
That was one big difference between the book and the movie. Well, in the book, what I read is that he sees Wolfman with the FBI, like leaving a place in Las Vegas and just walking out, and they never see him again. He never talks to him. None of that happens. But in
Oh,
the
and
movie,
in this one, they find him at the rehab.
yeah, and he says that they're trying to basically, I think he says they're trying to help me wake up from my bad hippie dream.
Yeah, it's a great scene. I love that
Yeah.
actor. And
Yeah, it is great. So they're trying to like brainwash him into not wanting to do this like utopia he was dreaming of in the desert, I guess.
yeah.
But also, does that have to do with whatever they wanted him to do like on the Vegas Strip, buying property?
Honestly, at this point, who freaking knows?
And after this, there's like a whole other like third plot with this guy Adrian Prussia, who has a badass name, but they find out that he was like basically a hired hitman for the LAPD. He's the one who killed Bigfoot's partner and made Bigfoot all mean and crazy. He smokes a joint that's like, I think, laced with like PCP and acid. The one flaw of hippie detectives that they'll always do the drug.
That's the
So-
one flaw.
You can make them take whatever.
Yeah.
That was another one of the more fun scenes, though, is when he wakes up from that. And he's, like, handcuffed to the pipe and has to figure out how to get out of that.
Yeah, the movie is interesting because it's like really confusing and it feels like it's like you're not watching a real movie, but like when you zoom out, it's like, oh, we're entering the end part of the movie and we need to have a big like third act where
Yeah.
is he going to make it, is he not? And we do have that, and it's like incredibly satisfying too. Even though watching it, you don't exactly know exactly why he's there and what he's going to gain from being there, and then but even people not knowing, really following the story, like him escaping that is very satisfying.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. It's high stakes. Like, finally, there's a stake in this town.
Yeah.
Like, he really, even though he's been sort of on the edge of interacting with people who are very dangerous for most of the film, he never really seems to be in much danger.
Yeah.
Right?
He just like gets out, or like he gets away with it. Like when he's like in the room with all the ties and stuff, like he gets away, and then when he comes out, the cops are there too randomly, and he just gets beaten up for a little bit. But like it moves on as if like nothing is like impactful.
Yeah. Because what even was that with him being beaten up outside of that house?
I'm the worst person to ask.
As you said, well, I don't care.
I'm enjoying the slow mo is what I'm doing.
Boy's getting his ass whooped. I love this. Carry on.
I wonder if there's a cut of this movie that like actually there's actually points of this movie that explains a little more that just had to get cut out for time's sake. I wonder if there's a cut like that exists.
Maybe.
But maybe.
My DVD has 0 special features. It has a trailer,
Ew.
and that's it. There wasn't even like a commentary
Dang.
or anything.
Let's
I
get
know.
these DVD. Come on.
What's
That's
the
like
point
the
of
best
the DVD?
part of a DVD. We all have access to the internet, and we're buying DVDs for the. Come on, gang. Get it
Come
together.
on, get the features on there, doy.
Do you think these weirdos and sickos are saving all the good stuff because they assume they're going to be on the Criterion Collection?
Probably.
You hate to see it, folks. You really do.
Or like they think when they're later in life and they need some money, they'll have something to sell.
Yeah, they'll have the. Oh, here's the commentary track that I recorded when it came
Just
out.
happened to stumble upon
that I
this.
happened not to release at all.
It's like you with that one short.
Exactly.
You're just holding on to that.
I one day will need money, and I will collect the $12 that short will make me.
And you won't have to do any work for it besides find the hard drive.
Exactly. The easiest $12 I've ever made.
So this big ass bodyguard and Joaquin have this like back and forth where they're trying to kill each other, basically. Joaquin escapes from being handcuffed to a pipe via a slice of credit card in his shoe. Okay, genius. Gets a hold of the needle of pure drugs and injects it into this big ass bodyguard, and then shoots the little Adrian, the little Adrian.
The little guy is what we call him.
Little guy blows his heart. Little mobster hitman.
Yep.
Bigfoot shows up then, like just in the nick of time. He seems to be kind of behind all of this and steals all their drugs, plants it in Joaquin's car. And yeah, the whole thing was just to get back at Adrian for killing his partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
You don't know.
At
You don't
this
care.
point, I don't know. I don't care. Yeah, because that's the point. Like what I mentioned earlier, like the what's his name, the officer's storyline, Bigfoot. That's where it definitely loses me completely at that point.
There's
It's
not
just-
much left at this point. Yeah.
Right.
Joaquin gets Owen Wilson released from his grasp as an informant.
Which is also a very satisfying moment.
Yeah, because he could have taken a bunch of money. He gives back the drugs is what happens. And they're like, we'll give you a bunch of money for the drugs if you just give them back. He's like, how about instead of that, you just let Owen Wilson go? So they do. And he reunites with his gorgeous little girlfriend and baby. And it's a sweet little moment.
Yeah.
And then the final scene with Doc and Bigfoot was great. Also a really good scene in the film where Bigfoot comes and kicks down his door, which was also, I think, foreshadowed at the beginning of the film. There's a time when Doc is at a cafe. It's like at the very beginning of the film, and somebody, like the waiter, mentions that a cop was looking for him, and he says something like, "Oh, you mean Bigfoot? Huh, I wonder why he didn't kick in my door like usual."
Oh, yeah.
So then at the end, he does kick in his door.
That's, yeah, nice. And then he eats,
Nice.
and then he eats the weed.
Oh, yeah. Well, first he just does a little hit off the joint, and then they speak together. So it's just kind of like the pinnacle of their mimicking stuff, because they're normally on the phone, and they're doing the same stuff in different areas. But at this point, they're together, and they're doing the same thing at the same time. So it's like the absolute culmination of their weird mimicking behavior that they've done throughout the movie, because they speak the same words at the same time. And then he eats all the weed. I guess he was only supposed to he was supposed to eat the joint, but then he just felt like he wanted to eat more.
Because these guys are getting no direction. They're just going, hey, man, just go out and do some weird shit. I'll be behind the camera.
Allegedly, there was a take of this scene, too, where there were no words and they just danced together. So,
Oh, boy.
I don't know. What's that like?
That would not have helped me. I mean, none of this is... I'm understanding zero of it as it is. So why not? Go for it.
It wouldn't have been as satisfying. I mean, the scene is
Exactly.
weird. Does it make sense? Like, not entirely, but it's kind of fun.
Right, you can see that he clearly has he's beaten, he's like out of it. He's like whatever. Like the stress is taken over completely. Like that
Yeah.
reads, and like, the doc is as confused as we are, so that reads too. So it's
And I think they always kind of they allude a couple times to having like a history together, or like maybe having gone to school together and known each other for a long time. It's like they have like a sort of friendship,
yeah.
but it's just a really toxic friendship, because they have a sort of partnership, but it's really toxic partnership. And this is like one moment where you get them like at least trying to connect and be on the same page for a minute without just like tearing out each other's throats. So It was nice. This is basically the end. Joaquin just drives off in the sunset with his little girlfriend, right?
Yeah, and it ends on a confusing note. Or in the ending note is he thinks he's being followed, or it makes you think he's being followed because a light hits his rear view mirror. And it very suspicious. But yeah, it leaves you with the lingering feeling of he's being followed or just whatever. It just hits the point again of that feeling.
Is that paranoia from all the weed though? We'll never know.
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole 70s. We get at this point collectively we're like, sure, 70s are filled with paranoia. We get it. And that hits that note again at the end. And it also, it kind of just, the movie doesn't feel like it comes to a full stop. It feels like the movie just fades out.
Their life continues after?
Yeah, which is not my favorite type of endings, but it was, it is nice.
I guess in the book they don't end up together, too. Him and the girl.
I'm at this point, I'm interested in reading the
You're going to
book.
read it.
And what I mean by reading the book is I'm going to read the Wikipedia page fully.
Yeah, the book is 400 pages, I think, so that's quite a commitment.
And I don't have time for that nonsense.
Who does? Who among
No
us has
one.
time to be reading 400 pages? No. I can read a page or two of an online article.
Okay, so now we're at the point where you tell me your your real, true, honest thoughts.
The moment you've been waiting for.
The moment I want a grade system, and I want
so
you to...
We have a part where we score this out of 5. So
Okay.
you would like for me to go first, is what I'm hearing.
I mean, I'll go first. I give this a 5 out of 5. I love this little stinker.
What do you love about it?
I love the pacing of the movie, and to me, this movie feels like a hangout movie, and it has it in its best form. To me, a hangout movie is not just guys hanging out. A hangout movie is you are focusing around one character, but you are seeing that character in a bunch of different vignettes that don't really have to be together. It's one of my favorite movies of all time is SLC Punk, which is it's also a movie that it's more about getting across the character and how he is more than the story. But what this movie does is it makes you think that the movie is about the story, but it's not. It's not about it, and it's not that because it's purposely supposed to be confusing you and make you feel like a paranoid hippie. So to me, it's a hangout movie, and it's just so much fun to watch because you'll be confused and you're just along for the ride. And then sometimes you'll land on a scene where he's talking to the girl looking for Owen, and you're like, oh, that's a really nice scene. It just feels good. And then you're at another point, you're he's giving drugs to a bunch of Girl Scouts, and it's just it's a great hangout movie. And I think the way the movie's edited and the way there's a bed of music throughout the whole movie that kind of gets you and puts you kind of in a trance, and you're just kind of the movie has a wavelength, and you're once you get on it, it's just it's a fun ride. And so that's why I enjoy the movie, even though I could care less about the plot. Half the time I don't know what's going on and I can't follow it. It's just this movie is one of those rides at Disney where it's just even though I'm a Orlando Universal boy,
Universal guy.
but it's just you're on this little ride, and it just what I'm trying to get at is I just enjoy the pacing of this movie. And it just feels good, and I really enjoy it. And it took me about 2 or 3 viewings for me to really like that about the movie.
Yeah. I think I might like this more on a third viewing that has no stakes to it, where
Right.
it's not attached to me having to know about the movie or me having to figure out what's going on with it. Yeah, because I didn't love my first viewing. I just really didn't love when I'm really trying to follow everything, and it's just hurting my head, and it seems so long, and there's just more and more things going on, and I couldn't keep up with it. And I'm am I stupid? I don't know, but I was struggling.
These are things
with
I
the
ask
film.
myself no matter what movie I'm watching. So
I mean, I've obviously seen films where they're not supposed to make sense, and that's totally cool, and you can just like let go and ride the wave or whatever. But it feels like, I mean, the points in this film do connect. Like, it ultimately does make sense. Every thread that's started does finish, I think. But
oh yeah, this is like, I don't want to like to have it come across like this is like so avant-garde that you don't really know.
right.
It's just like
It doesn't matter.
The plot points connecting together is like utterly meaningless.
Yeah.
And it's not supposed to. That's not where you're supposed to glean the enjoyment of the movie from.
That's not where the focus should be, is trying to figure out what's happening with the plot. The focus
But the
should
movie
be the
does
vibe.
the trick where it makes you think that is the purpose of it.
But it ain't.
But it ain't.
But it ain't. So I think from a filmmaking perspective, there are a lot of things I respect about this film. Like you said, like the characters are all really great, really unique. The acting was all really great. The editing, like you said, the way everything looks is great. The music, I agree, really adds like a whole vibe. And it felt very true to the time. So I respect those things. I didn't love watching it.
Right.
So, and there were those couple scenes that I really did like. So I gave this a 3.5, ultimately.
That's a lot better than I thought you were gonna.
Really?
Give it. Yeah.
Because I think I don't think you can give it less than that, because it's obviously like, it's made really well. Like, it's done really well.
I mean, this might be a corny thing to say, but it's like whenever you have a dream that you wake up from that impacts you, it's like it doesn't impact you because of like the storyline. It's like it evoked a certain like feeling that's cool. And when you look back on it, when I look back on the movie, I don't think about the plot point. I think about like, oh, remember the scene where he has the memory of running and trying to find drugs, and then like that was nice, and like you just have like. It just like the movie is filled with those moments of just like very like dreamlike reflections of like, you know, whatever. I don't know. I
think that's a really cool way to describe it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me when you put it that way, and I respect that from this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
But
gave it
the
a
movie is
3.5
very
still, though.
no, keep it with a 3.5. It's the movie's nothing but trouble. It's trying. The movie is trying to actively annoy you, but
Yeah.
I find it to be very nice.
But it is also like an interesting point that it is intentionally trying to make you feel like you're high and you're confused and you're paranoid.
Yeah,
I'm paranoid. I'm not catching all the plot points.
but that excuse only goes so far. I mean,
Yeah, that's fair too.
Now it's time for Screen Vomit.
So in this part of the pod, we just talk about whatever else we've been watching lately, which you mentioned a couple of things you've been watching lately, but if you'd like to talk about more, you can.
Yeah,
This is the time.
for sure.
Yeah.
I saw the Everything Everywhere All at Once movie.
Oh, hell yeah. Did you love it? What do you think?
I really liked it. I mean, I think it's, you know.
You didn't love it.
Well, like I said earlier, I'm a annoying contrarian when it comes to this thing. And here's the thing, gang. Everyone's just saying this movie is like a masterpiece, 10 out of 10. And so I came into it with a certain expectation.
Yeah.
And the movie is like so effective, so well done, so creative. Like the points with like when they turn into rocks and whatever. I will say I did leave the movie feeling like the story was nothing more elevated than a Pixar storyline.
Okay.
Where what what they're teaching you is be kind. So it's like it doesn't really make your brain think, and also all the storylines like you see it all coming. Like you know that she's gonna have the moment with her grandfather or with her dad, the person's grandfather, where she accepts her gay daughter.
Yeah.
Like you know that's coming, and so when it comes, it's like of course that's gonna happen. And that movie is like more about the ride, more about the zany things. And so I respect all of that. But the aspect that it kind of felt like a Pixar movie to me, like with the morality of it and everything, after everyone told me this is a masterpiece, 10 out of 10, I want to be contrarian. So please give me that.
So you don't feel like it was a masterpiece 10 out of 10, but maybe like a 7.
Yeah, 7's pretty low for that movie. I mean, that movie is extremely effective. It's just like, you know.
So you think it was a 10 out of 10, but just in a different way?
It's a 10 out of 10, but not for Clay. I just like when people sit. I literally just like movies where people sit down and talk. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Like fight scenes, I could care less about. Like zany little things that make it feel like a zany commercial or whatever. Like I don't care. But the movie is so well made, and like it's from a point of view that is just like so them that it's just like
absolutely.
it's unavoidable, and the movie's like incredible. But
Yeah.
for my I just like movies where people talk, and like the moral that they're trying to teach is like nothing groundbreaking, and it doesn't I don't leave the theater thinking about like what they're trying to like get across.
I think to me it's really impressive how they can do just like the silliest shit you could possibly think of, but still have it be really emotionally grounded, to even still have it feel grounded and feel sincere, and not have the silliness take away any of that. I think
It
is
doesn't
really
feel like
impressive to
corny
me.
at all. I mean, it doesn't feel like forced. It feels like the performances are just like incredible. But like, you know, again, the fighting and all that is very impressive. But
You don't care about that
I
stuff.
just don't care about
Yeah.
that stuff. You know, it's fine. And you know, and I desperately want to dish out hot takes and be a contrarian. So I guess
Hell
I
yeah.
get that. I got that across. Good for me.
Hey, feel your feelings.
Yeah.
I'll respect all takes.
Yeah, and also just like, you know, they made a great movie. They're very good at making them. What else have I seen? I saw Lost Highway again, which a David Lynch movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I also saw. Here's another hot take. I saw Drive My Car.
Okay.
And
what did you think about this one?
I love the director, and it wasn't my favorite of his.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen any of his other movies. Has he done anything? What's
You
he
know,
done that's cool?
he made a movie called Asako 1 and 2, which I just love. I love that movie a lot. And also, here's a really interesting tidbit that a lot of people don't know. He made a short film, and I know you're a sicko for these things, called Heaven is Still Far Away.
Okay.
And that short film inspired The Civil Dead.
Really?
Yeah. And not
Well,
just...
that rips.
And not, just because the short is about a person who can see someone who's dead, and
Okay.
I saw the short film before I had the idea of that movie, and so when I had the idea for The Civil Dead, that is the one movie that it was a clear inspiration that allowed me to like. I was like, oh, well, I've already seen this short film that has a character talk to someone who's dead, and I feel like it worked really well, and I feel like that gave me permission in my head to continue with this story. So
That you knew it could work.
yeah, it works.
Yeah.
That I
Hell
feel
yeah.
like it works because like I'm not really that good as a director dealing with really high concept stuff. So it's really scary, but like that movie done it in a way where it didn't
Not that
feel
you're
high
not
concept.
good at it. You're not confident in it.
I'm not
yet.
confident in it, so that movie gave me the confidence to do it because I feel like I'm like, oh, that it was done so well there that whatever. I think
Hell yeah,
you
that
love
rocks.
short films,
Yeah,
so I would
I'll
recommend
definitely
you
watch
see
it.
it.
Hell yeah.
And so I saw Drive My Car,
And you didn't love Drive My Car. I also
No.
didn't love it, for the record.
It's interesting because like it's a movie that I would have liked, but it's like one of
Mm-hmm.
those movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once, where it has such a hysteria behind it.
Yeah.
And you're going in, and it's like, well, you don't want any movie to be like, you don't want to think of any movie as like, oh my god, what you're about to see is the greatest thing of all time. Like,
Yeah.
you want to organically come to that.
I feel like Everything Everywhere at least kind of earned that, because I think they're doing so much that like you've literally have never seen people do something like what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
But like Drive My Car is like, it's like a people talking movie, so like I've seen that.
Yeah, but he's done another people talking movie that is, I feel like, way better. And I'm not saying that like it's a way better movie, but for Clay Tatum, it's more enjoyable. But I really liked Drive My Car. I just didn't. I'm just not.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I can see why people like it. I didn't love it personally. Also, it was very long. Another very long movie.
Yeah, and what have you seen that lately? Maybe
What have I watched lately? Are you done with yours?
Well, I told you I see 2 movies a dang month.
Okay.
I did see.
You gave me your month's worth.
I did see a movie at the Florida Film Festival called Resurrection, I think, but it's not out yet, and it's good. It's fine. There's nothing really to talk about, but I only bring that up just to say I've seen more than those 2 movies.
Okay. You've got proof.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I've watched a couple things lately. I watched the Greg Araki film Kaboom, which I had never seen, but I love Greg Araki. Have you seen any of his films?
That director's a big blind spot to me, and like he's like a director that was a lot of people were talking about when I first moved to LA and got into filmmaking, and I was like, he's so zany that I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna work my way up to him, and I just never got to it. I think zany movies are very hard for me sometimes.
I think he has 1 or 2 movies that are like way over the top zany, but I think what's beautiful about his movies is the queer aspect of it. So I don't know, like, because I am queer, so I don't know as a straight person what your interaction with the film would be, but to me, like, it's some of the queerest shit I've ever seen. It's some of the truest queer stuff I've ever seen, if that like makes sense. Like, it feels, even though he's been making movies like since the 80s, to me it feels more like honestly representative of like the queer people and the community that I know and experience now.
Yeah, it's like when someone makes like a punk movie, and like people in that culture can gain something from it more when they recognize that it's like it's saying something about the thing that people who are not a part of that can't say.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like, yeah, so you're gonna have a total different experience. With it, even though I'm sure I would not acknowledge it as good too, but it's like, for you, it's like an elevated experience.
More personal. Yeah. So like, I don't know how a straight person would interact with his films, but to me, even when like the movie's kind of psycho and like maybe the acting's weird or something, like they're so fun and they're so like comforting and they're so impressive. It makes me like, when people try and make, you know, quote unquote queer films now, and they're just like not anywhere close to what Greg Araki's been doing for 40 years. Like, I'm less impressed by people like, I don't know, casting straight people as queer, or like not
classic. Yeah, I think John Early
had
a joke about why every straight filmmaker wants to like make a movie that's inspired by the 70s so much. And I'm like, oh, that's so interesting, because like, you kind of like, when you first start getting into film, you realize the people that kind of innovate the most are queer. Like my first experience with that kind of when I got into film was My Own Private Idaho, which is a movie that is so inventive, and it is about like, you know, like queer and like I think it more specifically about like the queer scene or whatever, or street kids, but you start picking up that there's like these directors that are like innovating more than other directors, and they're just like more creative, and like there's a lot of things done in like My Own Private Idaho that is like so not innovative because I don't know if it's been replicated, but like so interesting that because you can see like a million movies where they're trying to like, they're clearly inspired by Martin Scorsese. They're just trying to like do that over and over again, or like with me, I'm just trying to make a Robert Altman movie over and over again. And but like with like My Own Private Idaho, there's so many interesting things in that movie that are like, I don't know, they're just more creative.
Yeah.
And I think with Greg, what's his name again?
Araki.
His are just like way more,
and they're like so unapologetic and like punk rock and like fuck you, we're queer. I just think there's nothing like his movies, really. And even My Own Private Idaho, like, while I agree there are a lot of things that are really like inventive and innovative about that film, I still found it to be, first of all, it's like 2 straight guys playing gay.
Classic. But there it is. And that's how you win the award.
But they also like, they kind of dance around their queerness in that film, and they're not as explicit about it. And Greg Araki has films that came out at the same time that are just way more. I don't know.
Oh yeah, with My Own Private Idaho, I definitely see the critique of like the queer experience. And with me, it's just like, wow, these magazine covers come to life, and I'm like, isn't that wacky? You know, that's like my experience with it too. But it's definitely like
It's not to discount the filmmaking merits that it does have, because
but it does
those are
like
there.
discount the like. You know, I don't know. It's like a punk movie where they only talk about sex, or like, you know, when they make a punk movie like Green Room and everyone's wearing a Dead Kennedys t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not what punk shows are. They don't have, they're not all wearing a Minor Threat t-shirt. It's like they're all, that's not what, so like, it's like,
There's a lot more color and variety than, you know,
it's still
what
a
you
good
glean
movie,
from
but
an
it's not
as an outsider.
reflective of the subculture that everyone thinks it is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, Gregg Araki just hits the spot for me. And Kaboom is kind of like a silly movie. It's kind of like silly horror, but it's camp, and I loved it.
Yeah, and that's kind of like his like go-to movie, right? Or is that the Kaboom is the one that I keep on, is the first one I think of.
I would say Mysterious Skin is his biggest movie.
Oh yeah, he did that. Yeah,
he did that, but that one's based off of a book, so he didn't write that one. So it's not exactly similar to any of his other work, but it is also like a really incredible movie. But if you want to get like a flavor for what is Gregg Araki like style, I think Mysterious Skin's not going to be it, but that is one of my favorite movies of all time.
That's great.
So
yeah, Kaboom
I don't know
is
if
like,
that says anything.
I think
Kaboom's one of his more recent. Maybe that's why you hear about it more.
No, I think I hear about more because it was a time where I first moved to LA. Whenever like movies come out right when I first moved to LA and got into film, those are the ones that stick with me, because those were when I was like the most invested. In finding out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has a bunch of movies that are big. Doom Generation's another one that people know a lot. Nowhere is one that I see get brought up probably the most, but that is probably the weirdest one of all of them.
And the Doom Generation and Smiley Face. Whitney, my wife, loves Smiley Face.
Smiley Face is one of the very few that I have not seen yet.
It's very zany. It feels like, from the scenes that I've seen when Whitney's watching it, it feels like a scary movie type movie. Like it feels like very, very comedy heavy and zany, but it's like it's out there. I've never seen it. I've only like walked in.
Yeah.
On Whitney.
I'm definitely gonna watch it one of these days. I want to finish his filmography, so there are only like 2 or 3 that I haven't seen. But anyway, I love Gregg Araki, and I have a couple other things on my list.
Is he part of a wave? Is he like? Wait, is this like
New Queer Cinema?
And who's part of that?
That would be like, But I'm a Cheerleader. That movie. That would be Todd Haynes.
He's way less zany.
Way less zany, yeah. But he still has his narratives are a little more straightforward most of the time, but he still uses like big colors and like has really fleshed out queer characters more so than a lot of the stuff that you were seeing at those times.
Yeah.
Those are probably like the biggest ones part of the New Queer Cinema movement, but there are, you know, you can Google lists of films in those.
There's a Wikipedia somewhere that can.
Yeah. And But I'm a Cheerleader absolutely holds up. Love that film. That was a queer awakening for me. So
that's a very explicit movie. They're not
dancing around anything.
They're not dancing around anything, which is like, and it's so well made.
That's part of what the movement is just being like absolutely in your face queer, not tiptoeing around any bit of queerness, and also just like the use of color and like that sort of almost surrealist extent of color and like crazy sets and stuff. It's all part of that. All right, I got like 3 other things on my list.
Go for it.
Pitch Black with Vin Diesel. Tone shift.
Never. I don't even know what that is.
From the year 2000. It takes place on an alien planet, and he has like superpowers where he can see in the dark. It's based off of a comic book series, I think. It's part of the Chronicles of Riddick series. It's the first movie. It's the first movie in the series. But Vin Diesel has some really sick goggles. He looks badass as hell, and it's very funny. Recommend Pitch Black.
That's great. I'm just not sound like a Clay Dana movie, but.
Do you hate Vin Diesel?
I just hate any action. Honestly, anything
you hate
where
action.
like okay. I'm not a fan.
You just want talking.
That's really all I want. I mean, you might as well just make a podcast for me. That's all really. All I really care about.
All right, I got 2 more. I watched this movie called Mother Schmuckers. which is a French film. It's newer. I don't know exactly what year, but it's done by maybe brothers, Lenny and Harpo Guit. I don't know how you say their name. Anyway, it's 70 minutes of absolute chaos. It's very funny. It's like one of those films, I call them disaster movies, but I don't know what normal people call them, where just like every time you turn the corner, like something else heightens whatever's happening. It's like another crazy scenario they've gotten themselves into, and then they run away, and then it's another crazier scenario forever and ever for the whole
What
film.
is this called?
Mother Schmuckers. Yeah, it's really short, and I think it's really fun, and I think it's really funny, too.
I love a short movie.
Yeah, I live for this stuff.
I mean, I don't know. It's got to be longer than a short film again, but
I mean, I watch a lot of
movie.
features, too.
Oh, another thing, one other type of movies that I want to bring up that I've been watching lately is the guy, I forgot his name, Quentin something. He plays in a...
Depieux.
Yeah, he's in Mr. Wazo or whatever. I've been really liking when his movies first came out. I did
I
not
have
like
seen
him
his
at all.
entire filmography.
I didn't really like Rubber or whatever, and I was just like, this guy's too zany for me. What is this, a Skittles commercial? And then recently I saw Deerskin, and I really liked that. And then his movie after that I really responded to, and I think this might be a director.
Mandibles?
Yeah, I really like Mandibles, and I think this might be a director I might start enjoying more of.
Yeah, I love Quentin Dupieux. I've seen all his movies. What's my favorite? I made a ranked list, but I don't remember. Oh, Wrong. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I've never seen Wrong.
I love Wrong. It's on YouTube for free. I think that one's so fun. I love Keep an Eye Out. I hated Wrong Cops.
Yeah, no. Wrong Cops is kind of my first, besides Rubber. It was Rubber and Wrong Cops, and I'm like, I don't think this director's for me. I don't think
I hated
don't
Wrong
like
Cops.
This guy.
I don't remember Rubber because I've only watched it when it came out, and I never watched it again. So I don't remember it as much.
Yeah.
But all the rest of his filmography, I went through right before Mandibles came out last year. So I have seen everything else pretty recently. But yeah, Wrong was my favorite, and I felt like I was always chasing Wrong because I think it's so crazy and fun.
I need to see Wrong.
Yeah. I really like Deerskin. I like Keep an Eye Out. Those are great.
People don't really like Keep an Eye Out, do they?
I don't know. I don't hear people talk about it, but I don't have a lot of people to talk about deep cut Quentin Dupieux films with either. So,
and my man has 2 movies out coming out.
Yeah, they're doing Cannes right now, I think.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. I'm so excited. He even I had somebody translate one of his short films that I could only find in French. I had somebody on Reddit translate it to English for me so that I could watch it and complete his filmography. Is how
that's great.
Sick in the damn head I am.
Was it good?
It was a short film. It's kind of like anti-film, so it's like pretty absurd and kind of it's kind of like, fuck you for watching this.
Okay, how early in his career did he make it?
Very early, some of the
okay.
earliest. So it's
Right.
like 2000, like the year 2000 or something.
Okay.
It's interesting for me to see still. I'm always interested in like process and growth too. So like even watching a filmmaker's stuff that is kind of bad, if I like some of their later stuff, I think it's still interesting to watch the bad stuff too. To see what they pick out and what they grow from, and
Yeah, I need to revisit his earlier movies, but yeah, I'm very excited for his new stuff, and I also like his music a lot.
I haven't listened to much of his music, but I have heard a little bit, and it seems to bop.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right, I just had one other thing on my list, which was Joey Izzo's new short. Of course, You've Never Been Completely Honest was crazy, fucked up. You've seen?
Oh yeah, I've seen it
Yeah.
multiple. Yeah, I saw it on the big screen, and I've seen it.
You went to that showing at Brain Dead or whatever.
Yeah. And Joey's a pal, and I love it. And it's really good. I'm a big fan of all of his other shorts too. I think
I've seen a whole bunch of them. I don't know if I've seen all of them, but I've definitely seen several.
he's very good at them.
He does a great job, and he did a great job with this one, and it's fucked up and twisted, and it made me a little sick in the head. So now I'm twisted moving forward. So thanks, Joey, for that. And that's my shit that I've watched.
we have a movie called The Civil Dead. If you're in Calgary, it's playing at the Calgary Underground Film Festival next week. Of course, this is not coming out today, so it's out whenever. And American Arts and Culture Review podcast, we do it every now and again, and that's about it. And my cat's on my computer. Oh no! Okay, I'm gonna go feed my cat.
Okay,
I gave him a little snack, but now I'm gonna give him his real meal. But thanks for having me.
Thanks again for coming on and going
course.
long.
Yeah, of course. It's great
All
talking
right.
cinema with some pals.
Hell yeah. Great chatting. And we'll see everybody else next time. Bye.
Bye. Sorry, my cat is viciously attacking me.
I love it.
He heard my comments on Woody Allen earlier, and he wants to get revenge.
Hell yeah. Go off, King.
Go off, King, and I can't blame you.
You deserve that.